Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Podcana. This is episode 151. Sky and I are back from Indianapolis, where we competed in the Disney Lorcana Challenge, the first one in North America that was the Infinity format. It was really stressful testing, and the event went kind of so-so for us, but a lot of great friends were able to make it there into the top 32 and onward, which is really cool to see. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're also going to talk about all of the reveals that have been shown off thus far for Attack of the Vine, as well as a couple for Hyperia City. We're going to take a look at every single card that has been revealed thus far and let you guys know what our thoughts are. But before we get into that, as always, would like to give a huge shout out to the sponsor of the program, Heavy Play. You can use code PODCANA to save 10% on your next order, and we are still doing that giveaway. So if you'd like to enter the giveaway to win a max deck box and dice box, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, and we will pick a winner out. Any comment will do, so leave one down below if you'd like to enter. Additionally, we'd also like to thank Sharp Gaming for supporting Podcana. You can use code Podcana for $40 off any booster box that they have online. That will include Attack of the Vine when that goes up. So if you're able to get there early, you can use our code and save a whole bunch of money. We have a bunch of events coming up as well. The DCI CCQ will be this weekend. I'll be out there casting. Sky, unfortunately, not going to be able to make it, but if you want to check out some awesome core constructed CCQ action, then you can do that this weekend. Be sure to check out the stream all day, June 28th, and top 16 on June 29th. We also have the Sharp Gaming 10K CCQ tournament coming up that will also be core constructed. Sky will be there as a featured player, so you'll be able to check out his deck list, and we'll talk all about his run after that event is over. But you can register at sharpgaming.shop. And of course, we have the Pro Play Summit coming up from PPG. This is going to be in Dallas, Texas, July 4th through the 5th. Sky will also be at this CCQ. It is a $10,000 core constructed CCQ. Sky will be a featured player there, trying to take this one down for all of you out there, the Podcana fans. And this one's going to be super interesting. You can also sign up for this using our link, and we will provide that in the description and the pinned comment. So with all that being said, Sky, how was your weekend at Indianapolis? How did your DLC go?
The weekend was not bad. I will say, to me, Dortmund and Indianapolis have felt like two of the worst formats that I've gone into competitively, and just in turn that leads to just not the most fun actually playing the game. And when a weekend is mostly playing the game for a player, the overall weekend just kind of is a little bit sour. So I didn't have the most fun playing. I went 5-3. I ended up playing dogs. On Friday, I played my Ruby Steel deck, which I actually really liked and thought it was fairly well positioned. I was pretty sure dogs was going to be the most played decks, followed shortly by Ember Steel and Red Blue being pretty close. And I also thought that Red Blue would probably do fairly well, and that's a pretty good field to bring it into. But I just did not draw well at all on Friday. And the previous weekend at the World Class Cards events, it did not draw well for me either. I was just not finding my wheels at all. The first wheel in the first 25, 30 cards. And unfortunately, that deck just cannot function if you don't do that. So I was kind of scared of just having a full main event day of just not firing off the deck and just sitting there like, why did I play this deck? I kind of wish I would have. The deck is pretty well positioned. It's not favored into Amber Steel. But that being said, I ran into 2 Amber Steel right away, so probably wouldn't have mattered. But I did take dogs. I went 5-3. I lost once to Amber Steel on the draw. He had very good hands going first, both the games, and the one game that I went first, it ended up like he scooped on like turn 5 or 6. So that kind of felt bad. It just felt like a matchup where if they have, their Cindy and Akud into their guys right away, it's pretty bad. I even had played two Ursulas both games on the draw, ripped some songs, and he just top decked the Akud both times, and it just feels bad. I don't know. The format to me feels very top decky. My other two losses were to the Mirror. I went like 2-2 versus the Mirror, and the Mirror just feels really bad as well. Like I think you can set yourself up as about as good as you can, and then if you just don't have the cards, or if they have, they have the cards one turn before you, the game is just completely blown out and there's no back and forth at all. So felt pretty out of control, which is typically just not a fun feeling to have for the formats. I think Dogs is a little bit too problematic and causes a format where it's really tough to attack. I think maybe if there was less Amber Steel, Ruby Steel would have been a bit of a stronger pick for me. I do think it was like a pretty strong pick. I had one of a guy who booked a coaching session with me the week before, who ended up taking pretty much my exact list, except like one card difference. And we talked about Ruby Steel the week before. And he was very close to making top cut. I think he was one win off. He played on stream and he won versus Red Purple. So he had a pretty good run. And seeing that was kind of nice. But overall, I'm just kind of burnt out of the format. And like, I don't know. I think rotation's coming and stuff is going to change pretty soon. But I think something needs to be addressed, at least for Infinity, if they want any hope of people returning back to this format. Because I don't think it was just me. I think a lot of people I spoke to also had, not a fun time, even if they did fairly well, made day 2 and played in Swiss. It just wasn't a fun Swiss event, and it really just felt like rolling the dice and seeing what that next card off the top was.
Yeah. I had that feeling a little bit as well throughout my run. I brought Amber Steel. I was really high on the deck since the beginning of the format. I mean, that was the first thing that you pointed me to as something that might be a strong contender, and I played a lot of it then and played a lot of different decks that you had suggested throughout the format, and then eventually came back to it and felt that it was in a really good position after Alvin Lorganes was able to win the CCQ out in the Enchanted Citrus Clash. It felt like there were avenues where I could attack the meta and feel pretty strong, even into Dogs, which is a really, really good deck, and Ruby Sapphire as well, which I expected to see, and then especially with Emerald Amethyst. So I wasn't able to get there Friday, so I didn't play in the Friday event. I showed up late Friday, drove up, and basically was feeling pretty zen about my list. It was probably like the best I ever felt going into a DLC, at least since Milwaukee, where I felt really good. Also on Amber Steel, but the aggro version, of course, that you had qualified with at the CCQ. But yeah, I felt really good. I was only debating like 4 cards, and you had talked to me about it as well on Friday evening about what are those 4 cards going to be. And I had been working with J-Bomb on the list, as well as the Dave, and Richie and my teammate Jake. We were all sort of working on it over the past couple weeks together, trying to figure out what the most consistent list would be. And we started playing Chenpo, which felt really good. And the day before, you had talked to me about putting Angels in instead of Auroras, the 1-drop Aurora. And I wish I would have just put in 4 Angels, because Aurora was the worst card in the deck by far throughout the weekend. And every time I had one, I was like, if this was Angel, it'd just be better. It would fight into Dogs better because she has the 1 additional strength. She can sing. She doesn't just get banished immediately after giving the discount that Aurora does. So I wish I played for that. And I played 1 Dale. I wish I had played 2. J-Bomb had 2 in his list. Dale overperformed insanely hard and won me a couple games throughout the day, even just being a one of, but was really happy with it. I got drafted by Baker as his 2nd pick in the caster draft, which was insane to me. Like, shout out to him for having faith in me, because that is a really high pick to use on somebody like me who really hasn't put up any results outside of, like, I got top 128 in Seattle. Like, that was my best ever result. And like, I've topped a couple smaller events like 2Ks, 1Ks, 5Ks. So big shout out to Baker. I was able to go 6-2 on day 1 and make day 2, which was my goal. So I was very happy to do that. And anything after that was just gravy. My matchup spread was very spread out. Round 1, I played against Dogs on the draw and was able to win. Round 2, I played against Emerald Amethyst with the Diablos, the Evasives, the Snow Fort. I was able to win that on the play 2-0. Round 3, I played against the Mirror. I played against Luca Rinaldi, who's an amazing player, Golden Mickey winner, day 2 this event, and is incredible. I believe he topped this event as well. I was one of his only 2 losses, but it was the Mirror. He rolled Snake Eyes. I rolled a 3, and I got to go first. In game number 1, I played Cindy on 1. He played Angel on 1. I stormed his Angel. Turn 2, I played Ursula. He played Troubadour. Turn 3, I Zeused his Troubadour. I sang a Cood with Cindy, and top deck to Cindy, shift Cindy. So I shifted her on turn 3, and then the game was just over. I believe he conceded the next turn. And then game number 3.
Not much you can do about that. One more song, and they're just cooked. So
game number 3, he missed 1 drop. I played Angel, and then he played Angel on 2. I stormed his Angel, and it just snowballed from there. He eventually played hardcast Cindy for 7 on turn 7, but by that point, I was able to put 7 characters down and played Strength of Raging Fire on his Cindy. So I was definitely high rolling that match. I won that 2-0. The round after that, I was supposed to be on feature, but my opponent didn't want to. That was a Ruby Sapphire. I won that 2-0. And then I played against Dogs again. I won. So I'm 5-0. I believe I was first seed. I was at the top table. I lost to Ruby Sapphire. I made a little bit of a mistake in game number 1, which probably cost me the game. And then game number 2, he just had everything, and there was nothing I could do. And then I played on stream, and maybe we'll talk about it. Talk about the stream match and put that up as a members only video maybe. But I took a big risk in game number 1. I didn't know what he was on. He didn't know what I was on. Turn 1, I was on the play. I played Cinderella. Turn 2, I played Ursula. But I had the option to sing a Cood with Cinderella on turn number 2 and play a Pete or a Rapunzel. If I had Ariel Ethereal Voice, I would have just sang a Cood and played that. But it was not the greatest play to sing a Cood and play a Pete, which is okay, can battle against the board, but can't sing a Zeus if I top deck it, or play a Rapunzel, which is also not great. I didn't have Dale in my hand, and it's really not any better than Ursula on 2. So I drew a Cood for turn on turn number 2, and I could have sang it, but I had Cindy 5 in my hand. So I was just hoping he didn't have Ursula on 2, and if he didn't have Ursula on 2, turn 3, I sing a Cood with Ursula, I shift Big Cindy, and the game is just over, right? So I took the risk, and I thought, when I did it, I was like, I know this is probably not the right play to do. I should probably just sing a Cood, see what I get off the top. Maybe it's Ariel, maybe it's Dale, or I just play the Pete, worst case scenario. But I took the risk, and it didn't pay off. And then game number 2, the deck just did not want to give me the cards to come back, and he tramped and ran over me. But do you think I should have just sang the Akud and not risked it at all, or just go for the big swing?
So what was did you have a 2 cost?
I played Ursula. I played Ursula too.
Yeah, you made the right call. I wouldn't have Akuded out the Pete's. I don't think it's worth ripping that. At least make him play the Ursula and take it. Because at least that slows down his curve a decent amount. And I think the upside of if you do get it and he just plays a standard curve, I think is enough to where it's worth it to just hold on. Singing a Cood playing a Pete's not great at all. And what was his 1 cost that he played?
I think it was Aurora, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Probably not that he would have played a Lady 1 plus a Tramp and buffed and taken it out, but that's also another option that he would have if you do go ahead and sing. So yeah, it's
that's true.
I think you probably made the right call there.
Yeah. It was tough. I thought about it I don't know what was happening. I felt like I was playing the best I've ever played in any tournament. I was just locked in. I knew what my deck was good at, and I knew the lines, and I felt really good. And I was like, in that moment, I didn't know, and I just wanted to risk it. 1, because it would have been an incredible moment on stream, but 2, because if I do it, I just win. But anyway, I end up losing that. So I start off 5-0. I'm feeling really good. I want to keep the momentum going, and then I lose 2 straight, and now I'm going to the last round that I have to win, and I'm playing against Dogs. I win the dice roll, and I'm able to win the match in game number 3 on the play. Made day 2, did my goal, went into day 2. I go up against Riplungs or Create, a very well-known content creator, known for Sapphire Steel. I am on the play, so I'm feeling really good. I have no idea what he's on, but he knew what I was on because I was on the feature match. So in game number 1, he plays Ursula 2 on turn 2, 3, and I believe he played it on turn 4. He played all 4 Ursulas in the top 20 cards, and the first 2 were okay, but the next 2 really lost me. The game number 1, game number 2 was super close, but I was able to win. And then game number 3, so back and forth the whole time. I'm able to like clear his board, but then he has like 1 card in hand. I cleared his snow fort with Donald Duck. I did have the Donald Duck in the deck, and that's clearing the snow fort did make a difference in the game. But he top decked a genie, and then found another genie right after that, and had a Peter Pan, and was just questing for too much. And I had an aerial ethereal voice with a boosted card underneath. Like for 3 turns, if I find like a Zeus or a Strength, the game is probably over and I win, but it didn't show up. He was able to get it done. The last turn, I still had a chance. I quested out everything. I did the math. I was 2 lore off from winning, but if he challenged nothing and just quested, I could top deck a big Cindy, shift it, and win. And on the final turn, I drew my card for turn. It wasn't Cindy, and it wasn't anything that I could use to draw another card. And I told him, I was like, if I drew Cindy here, I won. And I showed him my cards, and I didn't have it, and we shook hands, and he went on to win out, and he made it into Continental. So congratulations to him. The round after that, I played against Kurt Spice, who was like a semi-local to me. I play him all the time anyway, which is funny. And it was in game number 1, he was playing the same thing, Emerald Amethyst. He played 3 Ursulas 3 turns in a row. What can you do? But yeah, that was my run. After I lost to Kurt, I dropped. I ended up going 6-4 because I was out of contention for the Simba. But I had a lot of fun. If there was another DLC this weekend in Infinity, I would play in it. I would play Ember Steel and feel good about my chances. But yeah, that was my run, and I like the deck a lot. Super congratulations again to J-Bomb, who was able to make top 8, get a golden Mickey with the Amber Steel deck. Super happy for him. And yeah, that's it. I thought Infinity was not the greatest format to play in. The Dogs deck, when it did what it wanted to do, was really oppressive. And we saw Alphos go completely undefeated till the finals. Ruby Sapphire was able to take it. It's weird to think about this format because it kind of feels like a one-of, and we talked about it for so long, and then there it was, and there it went. Now it's gone, and I don't know when we're going to see it again.
Yeah, I don't mean to be negative about it because I think
you're good, man. Speak your truth.
It's important to have these alternative formats so our cards hold value, but I really think this was like probably the worst the like 6 months leading up to these DLCs could have gone. Like it all started with okay, after Richmond, everybody's locking in. We're gonna do Infinity, and then nobody did Infinity. Nobody ran CCQs for Infinity. There was almost nothing that like gave us data, and then by the time we got data, it was like, okay, it's looking kind of cooked. It's looking like Dogs is pretty oppressive. The conversion rates are pretty bad, and then by the time we got like really like a lot of more data to kind of confirm that, it was just too late to do anything. And I think had we actually started playing those CCQs and getting this data in of like, oh my gosh, these top cuts are like absurd amounts of Dogs and absurd amounts of absurdly high conversion rates for the deck, I think something would have been done earlier, and we would have had a little bit more of a fun format to attack. But what ended up happening with the format, in my opinion, was you had Amber Steel, Red Blue, Dogs, and Green Purple. And to me, Red Blue felt like a deck that could win, but you really had to hit your 4-ofs on curve, like to have any sort of chance into a regular dog curve, play or draw even. I'm talking like if you're on the draw, if you don't hit Liquidator, there's just no game, like almost no game at all. Like into Dogs, I think your win rate is probably like sub 30% on the draw with no Liquidator on turn 1, which that's fine. I mean, if it's just that, that's fine. But also on top of that, you need to still be curving out perfectly. With like stuff like double ramp into the prep right on time. And if they have the Ursula to rip it, then you're in a spot where you just have to top deck the prep for, within sometimes one turn on the draw on the play. Sometimes it's within like 2 turns. And you really can't dig for it because if they have a second Ursula, they can check you again. So that matchup for me, Red Blue felt like the king of top decks. Like if you're playing against, Amber Steel or Dogs, or sometimes even the Mirror is pretty low resource as well. Like it just feels like what's on top of your deck. Did you get one of your 2 answers? And that doesn't feel good. There's some stuff like where you can play an Olaf that can sing and be prep in those matchups, and you can then use your dig cards. That does work against Hammer Steel. Sometimes that doesn't work though, because they can just Zeus it or strength it. It's very easy to do that at that point. So to me, Red Blue overall wasn't feeling great. Not just for that, but just the fact that like Amber Steel wasn't even a great matchup with Bare Necessities, and some people even running the You Have Forgotten Me card. But it did do fairly well, and there was a lot of it at the top tables. Which is one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to play Ruby Steel. I thought that was a pretty good pick, was because I was like 36-1 versus Red Blue, especially the action deck. It was like completely impossible as long as you hit the first wheel. But yeah, so you had Red Blue, which was like a top deck. Amber Steel also felt like a very, very top deck based deck. Akut is probably the strongest card in the deck. It enables the early draw engines that actually enables you to keep singing removal and like abusing the power that you have of Amber Steel of just being a tempo deck that takes stuff off of the board before they can. And if they had the Ursula that took the Akut, obviously you're not going to be doing the you can't string together removal every turn. You're just doing something completely different. So like the way I lost Amber Steel as Dogs was I played 2 Ursulas, ripped his songs. There was no Akut, and then he top deck Akut both games. And he ended up playing 3 Akuts both the games I was on the draw when I played double Ursula, which felt bad. But it's just like, it just goes to show that they're, some decks, they live off the top, and if they hit it, that's the one avenue to win. And Dogs felt like the one deck that didn't really need that as much. Like your standard curves just demanded that out of those 2 decks. So that's kind of why I chose to play Dogs. My only loss other than the Mirror was to that Amber Steel that did that to me. So I felt pretty fine with my deck selection. It felt like Dogs brought out the worst in the format, and the people that were successful with Amber Steel or Red Blue were like the people that had the survivorship bias of they hit those marks like on turn when they didn't. And if it's one top deck away of like, oh, I missed, and you're just done, like that just feels so incredibly bad. And part of that is just the nature of card games. But I will say a lot of formats have much more back and forth, and you have more than 1 or 2 turns to top deck an exact answer to start coming back into a game, versus the game's just over if you don't.
Yeah, no, it felt that way a lot of the time when playing Amber Steel. There were some games where it was just humming. And then there were some games where it was tighter. I had to keep my resources really close to the vest. But I only had a couple games throughout the day where it was just like, this is unplayable. And that's what I really liked about the deck. It felt really consistent to me. But yeah, the Dogs, it's just the Eleanor, I think, really turned it into a deck that became a problem to like very oppressive, and people started finally playing it as the most played deck, right? Which surprised me. I just felt like it was just never going to happen just because that's what it was. But I think Eleanor made the deck more approachable, probably easier to play. Like if you just play Eleanor on curve, like probably just going to win. She's very resilient. She draws you cards, she gains you lore. She sings Under the Sea. I think Eleanor was like the real problem with the deck. So big shout out to the Slab Sharks for finding that. Shadox for winning the CCQ with that in his deck in Canada. It was an incredible innovation. We started at Snowfort and ended up with none. We're back to Under the Sea, and they were a huge reason why that happened. But yeah, Infinity, it is what it is. I think it needs a more robust ban list at this point just to shake the format up, and I think give it a little bit of a different texture. We kind of knew going into the format what the most powerful cards would be, and that kind of bore out in the results, I think. Like Ruby Sapphire is still really good. Popsicle, I think, is still the culprit there. The card is just incredible, especially in Wars of Attrition or Battles of Attrition. you're able to use the carpet bag and Tamatoa and just draw infinitely and eventually get to the vision, which is going to find you the one answer that you need. Firefly Swarm made Popsicle so egregious. You just have 2 Popsicles out, you pop them for nothing, you Firefly Swarm, banish anything that you want to for 3, especially in the late game. It's crazy, and then they have Maleficent Dragons and things like that. But I think Popsicle is really the reason why that deck is so crazy.
Yeah, to me, I didn't understand the red blue pick at all. Like we knew it was going to be their numbers, but I just did not feel like it was doing well into dogs or amber steel. Obviously, the final show that if you draw right and the dogs player maybe doesn't have their strongest curves, you can still definitely win. He won 3-1. But I don't know. I think like I said, if you just run out the 100 games on each, you're definitely not going to end up over 50%, which I would not want to take a deck that's not great into dogs or amber steel to the events. But
yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, Alphos also had a great run where he played a bunch of Ruby Sapphire and Swiss and beat them all. So like he was literally undefeated against Sapphire
he showed me
his
run, and it was literally 4 red blue, 1 red purple, and 3 blurple for the day 1. And then I think starting day 2, he even played into like 2 more red decks the first 2 rounds. So I think that's probably a testament that the dogs is beating red blue most of the time. But red blue ended up winning, so we'll probably never see a change. It's fine. Like, don't look at any of the other numbers, just look at that. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, also I don't think we're going to see the format for a while. I think the attendance of the DLCs and the viewership of the DLCs really showed that people just don't care about Infinity, which is interesting because people lost their minds when the rotation happened, and then everyone, I guess, just decided they love rotation and don't want to play. Which I knew was going to happen. Like, rotation is fun. It's fun to get a brand new format. It's fun to play brand new cards. It's fun to see brand new decks. And if we were just playing, like, imagine Infinity didn't exist, we would have been playing this for the past year, and I think people would have lost their minds. Like, they would have gone crazy. So I think maybe more attention needs to be paid to Infinity in terms of, like, maybe we should restrict things. Maybe there needs to be a ban list. It'd be interesting conversation to talk about one day, but
they need to do what Yu-Gi-Oh does. They need a rotating ban list. I think a rotating ban list for Eternal formats is incredibly important to keep the format alive. And essentially, the hype from rotation and new things on the horizon happens with the rotating ban list, but you don't have to do nearly as much work. And it's like good for the community. People are hyped for it. Like, it's a great news cycle. Like, when the ban list comes out, everybody looks at it, does content. It's all the excitement, and no work is being created other than deciding, okay, let's ban these, 2 strongest cards from each color and see what a format without Cindy and Storm is like. Because like the best example for me is when we had our first rotation and like cards like B Prep got rotated out. Everybody's like, we don't have a board wipe. What are we going to do? What does this format look like? I was very excited. I wanted to see what a format without a board wipe looked like. Playing to the board traditionally is like, what most decks want to do and what most cards and archetypes are designed around. But like, some of the weaker ones are weak because they're play to the board too heavily. Like, if you have a strategy that has a little bit traditionally clunky characters that are more expensive and you can't get value out of them because you're just, by the time you play them, a board wipe is on the horizon. Stuff like that can kind of come together without a B Prep. So I think the same thing kind of needs to happen with Infinity, where we take a few of these all-star cards and say, hey, let's do a format without them and see what happens. But that's just my opinion. I'm somebody who has a lot more time than people and can play and figure out stuff more than your average player. So maybe that's not the best idea. But I think for Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like a absolute necessity, and in some other card games too, they need something like this to even have a playable game. And so I think it's kind of just shows that, like, eventually we would get to that point. I think if you have enough cards in the card pool, you have to do something like that. So it shows that, like, at this point, it's not that bad yet, but it probably needs to be done at some point.
Yeah, you're not wrong. I think they will recognize that and react accordingly, and we'll see what happens with the Infinity format coming up. But right now, Everybody is focused on core because rotation is happening and the new set is being spoiled, or not spoiled, but revealed. And it is reveal season. So we're going to get into some of these cards from Attack of the Vine and let you guys know what we think. I honestly have not read most of these cards. About
Same
half
here.
of them I've
I have
seen.
no clue what's
I
about
was
to be
just
shown here.
I was just putting them in. So it'll be interesting to see both of our reactions here on these new cards. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we've got here. First up is Mike Wazowski, Heroic Climber, a 2-cost uninkable 0/4 in Amber. His ability, Find a Friend. When you play this character and whenever he quests, each player reveals the top card of their deck. If it's a character card, they may put it in their hand. Otherwise, put it on the bottom of their deck. So he's Daisy Duck, but a 0/4. He costs 2. However, he can put cards into your hand. So if you build your deck right, it seems like you can play him on 2, draw card. Anytime he quests, draw card. But he only quests for 1.
Yeah, my initial thoughts on this is probably a little bit weak. You probably want this in an aggressive deck that doesn't really care too much about giving your opponent's cards, kind of like Daisy. But being a 2-cost and having these stats with only questing for 1 is a lot to give up in aggro style decks. Like if you're giving playing like a Nala that could quest for 3 to play this, it's got to be like really really good, and like the characters you're getting have to like do something crazy together to really make up for that. You can kind of compare it to like when dogs started playing Donald Duck a little bit as like a value 4-drop that he pretty much says, I'll give you cards, but because all I care about is if I have cards remaining in my hand to throw down. But Donald was like a curve ender, so it saved cards in your hand, because at that time, like it was like, okay, I did my curve where I threw out all my little stuff, and now I kind of just want to play one big thing, so I preserve some cards and get even more card draw with it. This doesn't really do that, but it threatens to keep doing it every turn, like Donald would. So you could probably build up a really big hand if this thing survives. It's just, will it survive, because there's no punishment for hitting into it. So I think it's probably not the best card, but it's definitely a cool effect, and I like to see more cards like this where if they're they're not dealt with, they have some sort of value engine tied to them.
Yeah, I think it's super cool. The problem is it's in Amber, and if you're playing an aggro deck in Amber, you're probably playing Grandmother Willow on turn 2. So if he was like a 1-drop, you could play with Grandmother Willow. He'd be really really good, I think. But yeah.
And if you're playing Willow on 2, you could play like a Eleanor on 3, and Eleanor's doing the good part about this plus some more, and not giving your opponent the cards. So yeah, probably not good enough.
Yeah, I agree. I do like this Sully, though. 3-cost inkable Ruby card, the Protective Monster. He's a 2/5. His first ability, Fearsome Glare. When you play this character, you may exert all cards in your inkwell. Second ability, Riled Up. While all cards in your inkwell are exerted, this character gains Rush. He quests for 1. Play him on 3, rush in, challenge something. Super anti-aggro card. You can play him later in the game at the end of your curve or whatever you're playing for the turn, right? Exert all your ink, and maybe you have to exert 1 extra. Sometimes in Disney Lorcana, you can't use all of your ink anyway, so you exert the last one, give him Rush. He's a 2/5, so like he holds damage really well. With Cheshire Cat, could be a good card in like Ruby Amethyst. I think this guy's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think this is like a pretty good generic card, but it like fills a role that's kind of hard to play a deck around. If you think about like, what about red blue? If this is a thing that red blue could play, if they're ramping and they need to stop the early aggression, it's a 3-cost. So if you're ramping on 2, you're not going to be, super happy to play this card. I mean, obviously you could maybe play like a develop before and then play this and still fill out your ink, but and then the other decks would be like, okay, if it's some kind of red mid-range deck, do we need to be playing stuff like this? But traditionally, that deck is very good against aggro. Just playing big bodies early, you don't necessarily need something like this to come in right away and stop them. They're going to be held up anyways from questing because you're just playing big stuff on curve. So I think the card might be a little bit tough to find a place, but I think it is fairly good. Like I do like to see, if we're really struggling against aggro in a format, stuff like this is, potentially out there to stop, like a Piglet card from questing for 3 and then, not being dealt with. It's like a super goof essentially, but 1 ink less. So probably for decks that don't ramp, they need some sort of anti-aggro answer.
Yeah, I like this guy. I think he's super cool. If you play Lumiere, he's a 3/5. Like I said, works really well with Cheshire Cat, holds that damage. I think he's a cool tech card. I think he's also going to be amazing in limited. So I'm a big fan of this Sully. I think he'll eventually find a place in the core constructor meta. But we also have to remember, Sky, right now, once rotation happens, we only have one card that can ramp on two, one jump ahead. We're losing T-Pone,
Yes,
we're losing
yes,
Sail.
I'm
So
excited. Like I said
it
about
might be
the
the ramp on three meta because we have a lot of cards that can ramp on three or ramp on four.
yes, Mickey Mouse Detective is coming back.
Mama Odie,
I
dude.
don't know about Mama Odie. Whoa, there's not
Play
enough.
Mama
Definitely not enough
Odie's.
cards after rotation for that. But
Sing with your 2-drop. What do you mean?
I am excited to see a full round without 2-cost ramp and
Yeah,
have
me
everybody
too.
a little bit on an even playing field for playing characters on curve. Not to say that just instantly mean stuff is healthy, but I think it'll be interesting to see what happens to like different archetypes where it's like, okay,
Yeah,
traditionally, Blurple is going to be this menace to all other mid range that don't have the option to ramp. So we'll see if that still holds up without being able to skip a 3-cost.
I agree. Up next, If I Didn't Have You is a song. It's a 3-cost inkable song. You and another chosen player each draw 2 cards. So show me more, but you can sing it. Probably just an aggro card like Show Me More has been. What are your thoughts on If I Didn't Have You?
Yeah, it's inkable and it's a song though, so that's like the fun
Yeah,
parts about this card, right? Um,
Nani can sing it.
yeah, it's definitely like an interesting one. Like my brain is starting to just go to my infinity testing and going with like core control of like, oh, if I'm gonna shift the Clarabelle soon, it's similar
Oh,
to like
right.
a You're Welcome card, right? And we have plenty of singers in that deck already, so like it's kind of an interesting way to dig through our deck more and look for the Clarabelle while still being like, I don't care, I'm giving you cards because I'm gonna play a Clarabelle. So I like a card like with this kind of style to it. But as far as like being in core where there's probably not, some Clarabelle style effects going around, I don't know. This is like the strategy of Mike Wazowski 2-cost to the max, where you're just like, I don't care about giving you cards. I just want to have cards in my hand, and typically that's like mostly attuned to like aggro. And so if you're taking a turn to sing with like a 3-cost or even just like a 2-cost, it means one, you're playing a 2-cost singer, or the 3-cost is just giving up questing for like 2 or 3. So probably won't go too well into like an aggressive strategy, but it is an interesting card that I could definitely see someday having some sort of play into if enough effects get printed for it.
The next card we have here is a 4-cost inkable sapphire card. It's Randall Boggs. Scary Smart. He's a 3/3. First ability, get out of here. When you play this character, put chosen character of yours into your inkwell, face down and exerted. So there we have more 4-cost ramp in Sapphire. Second ability, Devious Plan. At the end of your turn, if all cards in your inkwell are exerted, gain 1 lore. And he also quests for 2. This is a super interesting card. Has that Pleakley effect, a 3/3. He quests for 2 and gains you additional lore if you've used all the ink for turn. Hold on. We combine him with the Sully that we just took a look at. He exerts all your ink anyway. Now you're gaining 1 lore.
We're gaining 1 lore, baby.
Because you can't
Yeah.
just exert your ink for no reason, right? You have to spend it on something. Unlike in other card games where you can just spend your resource and not use it. In Disney Lorcana, if you're spending a resource, you have to use it. So you can't just exert all your ink at the end of the turn. You would need something like Sully or play something to get this effect to work.
Yes. Ideally, though, you'd be building your deck to curve out and use the ink every turn, so we wouldn't have to be doing stuff like solely to tap on ink unnecessarily. But
Mm-hmm.
I will say this card is probably just a worse Pleakley. Like the stats are actually worse than Pleakley versus other than the 1 lore pip. And where a deck where you try to play something like this, it probably you don't care about lore early.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the one type of deck that would maybe want something like this would be like a blue steel curve deck or Kiwi Birds as it was called, where you maybe skip your 5 ink and go to a cap off at something big at 6 if you can
Yeah.
just ramp on 2, and
Get to
then it's like
Goliath or something like that. I mean, but Pleakley is going to be gone. Pleakley's
Bleakley will
rotating.
be gone. So I mean that probably just means this card is just not going to see play, especially with 2-cost ramp going. The only thing I could say is that like if you're ramping on 2 and you're playing Pleakley in your deck, like it's nice to just have this be like slightly better, and you're using all of your ink. But it's questionably better in most style of decks that are like ramping. So yeah, they probably won't see any play.
Up next, we've got two more Monsters Inc. cards. The first one is a 2-cost uninkable item in Ruby called Scream Canister. The ability Erratic Screams. You can exert this item and pay 2 to exert all cards in your inkwell to exert chosen opposing character with 2 strength or less.
Exert all cards in your inkwell. This is like the theme of the Ruby Monsters Inc.
Yeah, Ruby and Sapphire.
So I mean, exerting opponents' characters is good, as we see, but it's really, really good when you have something like an Elsa body attached to it that can swing into it and harbor some damage for Cheshire Cat. I don't think that this is good enough to be played. I'm not really sure if we're just like this is like an anti-aggro tool, or if there's going to be more strategies where it's like combat tricks with these Monsters Inc. cards that like really you want you to be able to swing. But yeah, just costing 4 and especially being an uninkable is a lot. And it's not even tap anything like Elsa would be. Just being 2 or less is kind of not the greatest. So probably not a good card.
I do like this Randall Boggs we have here, though. 2-cost inkable. Randall Boggs, Envious Coworker. He's a 3-strength, 1 willpower character with evasive. His ability After Hours Project, while all cards in your inkwell are exerted, this character gains +2 lore. So 2-cost evasive, that quest for 2. Not bad, especially if you're playing on curve.
Yeah, I actually really like this card. I think I'm going to ignore the Eleanor in the room for now, where this thing just absolutely gets destroyed by that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're in a format with no storm, and we've noticed that in a format with no storm and traditionally no Eleanor effects, that it doesn't really matter if something's a 1 or a 2. It's going to get that job done. So being a 1 isn't too scary. Ignoring that, and this card is pretty great. Being evasive, potentially questing for 2 seems pretty good for something like this. And it's also inkable, so I think a deck like Ruby Steel Aggro, that type of archetype would love a card like this where we can just quest and it survives the hit. They're also losing stuff like Elsa in the format, so we're not super worried about this being taken over by an Elsa on turn 4. So I actually really like this card. I hope this thing can find its home in some sort of aggro deck.
Yeah, or could just play like a Ruby Amethyst evasive strategy. Dumbo can make this card draw a card even if you can't quest for 2 with it, right?
Yeah, it's another 2-cost like Jeb that you can potentially tap with Dumbo and draw a card. I think that's one of the strongest things that you can do with red right now is actually just play a Jeb and have Dumbo be able to draw a card with him. So yeah, it's nice that you have something that actually quests, but it can still fulfill that role with red purple.
Yeah. I like this Randall a lot. So I think it'd be a really cool epic too. Like have the spot varnish be on him when he's like a little translucent looking. I think it'll look.
Yeah, I love this art. He's really gremlin like. He's like,
he's one of my favorite characters.
I'm up to some mischief here.
I love Randall. He's so I don't know. He's just I always thought he was cool as a kid. He's just a super creep.
He's like hiding from the Vine. Also, the Vine's kind of invading his space here, and he's like, I gotta change real quick.
Yeah, potentially opened up the door. The Vine burst through. He's like, ugh.
I don't want to be seen this? Seen what's happening down here?
When the janitor
I don't want
shows
to be a
up.
part of it.
Up next, we're moving on to Up. I didn't do that on purpose. There's a Boo card that's supposed to be here, but I guess we'll get to it later. I probably messed the slideshow up. Carl Fredrickson, Loving Husband. This is traumatic. This is trauma dumping the cards here, but these are almost certainly going to have foil connected arts. But Carl Fredrickson, Loving Husband, a 1-cost 1/2 in Emerald. First ability, Take My Hand. When you play this character, you may pay 2 less for the character named Ellie Fredrickson you play this turn. So now we have Ellie Fredrickson, who's a 2-cost uninkable in Emerald. She is the loving wife. She's a 2/2, and her ability, Ventress Heart, whenever you play a location, gain 1 lore. So you can play him on 1, play her for free on 2, and maybe play a location on 3. We'll have to see here, maybe coming up on the next slides. But
yeah,
playing stuff
I'm gonna
for
assume
free,
they have the up house as location. I'm gonna assume that's
playing stuff for free is pretty good.
Yeah. It's comparable to like a Lilo and Pudge. I think the Lilo 1-cost being a 1/2 is like very similar to this, and then the Pudge being a 1/3. Debatable whether a 2/2 is better than a 1/3. It kind of depends on the format and the cards people are playing. But I don't think unless there's something else here that's like shifting that we're gonna see that's makes these playable at all, unfortunately.
Well, let's take a look here. Oh, there's Boo. Uh, there it is. Paradise Falls. Oh, it costs 4. All right, never mind. We're going back. Boo! Human Child. She's a 1-cost 0/3 in Sapphire. Her ability, Making Memories. While you have 5 or more cards in your inkwell, this character gets +2 lore. So 0/3 that can potentially quest for 3 if you have 5 ink.
Okay, so this is like the Randall Boggs actually might be coming through on this one with a bit of a curve out / some ramping Kiwi style deck on this one, because this is actually
Sapphire
very
aggro.
very good stats. Like busting for 3, being an inkable 1 cost, and not having just two health is pretty good. Problem is that like one of the reasons why we don't see a Kiwi style deck too often is because it's rare that an aggro deck wants to ramp it all and do anything with that. They just want to just throw down their hand and faster than their opponent, and that's how they win, right? So
yeah,
you got to have these really specific conditions and cards for it to be in place to be worth giving up immediate pressure to ramp. I think like the Alice Savvy Sailor card is like a perfect way that you kind of get around that. Is like it's worth it to not immediately quest because it's giving stuff ward and like protecting and setting up a big quest out. So I'll be interested to see if they like really push an archetype of aggro while ramping some. I will say I did like the idea of like playing a 3-cost Mickey in blue steel and having him able to sing like a strength or a storm back in the day. Unfortunately, there just wasn't enough support for that type of like curve to be super effective in the format. It was just okay, I think. But yeah, this is like a pretty good card, I think.
Yeah, I like this card. I am excited to see what happens with more of these Monsters Inc. cards, because it looks like the synergies are coming together. And this is something we talked about a little bit on previous episodes, where the synergies are way more intentional in the game right now, especially with Wilds Unknown, to the point where I think these kind of decks can sort of build themselves in the way that you'll have like 4, 5, 6 cards that you know you're going to put in the shell, and everything else around it is going to be where it really supports the synergies, like with the toys, the supers, and now we're seeing with these Monsters Inc. cards. Really excited to see what they have in the future here. But let's go transition back to up. Let's pretend like Boo was in the right place. Here's Carl Fredrickson on the move. He's a 4-cost inkable 3/3. So it looks like up is going to be the location's strategy as his first ability, Moving Partner. Whenever you play a location, you may move this character and up to one of your other characters to that location for free. This is something that we've seen before with Tuk Tuk in Ruby, but he could move everybody, I believe. Whenever this character quests while at a location, draw cards equal to that location's lore. So if there's a location that cares about the number of people that you have at the location, the number of characters or glimmers, then this could be a really powerful quester. As it stands, he quests for 1, but drawing a bunch of cards could be pretty good depending on what the location is.
Yeah, I think this card, if we saw it right now in the format, absolutely no chance. You're getting everything is answering this, whether it's Steel, playing Strength or Zeus, or Blurple, tapping it with an Elsa or a Demona and just wrecking him. Definitely no. But a card like this post rotation might have the chance to just stick around. There might not be anything that they can play on curve fast enough to interact with this guy. And if you do the effect and you draw cards, if there is a location, which I'm going to assume there will be, where you can draw 3 or 4 cards, yeah, that's pretty good. 3 or 4 cards is awesome.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the next cards here. We have Russell, who's a Floodborn hero. He's a 5-cost inkable 3/5 in Emerald. He shifts for 3. His first ability, Base Camp. Your characters at locations get +1 strength, so there we have more location synergy. Good leadership. Whenever one of your characters with 4 strength or more quests, gain 1 lore. We also have a 6-cost Carl Fredrickson and Russell team-up card. It is a Ruby and Emerald 6/6. It shifts for 4 and quests for 2. Its ability, Outdoor Skills. While this character is at a location, all characters at that location gain +1 lore and evasive.
Yeah, so the Russell, I think for sure, not looking good to me. I don't really see the effect being that effective. Giving stuff +1 attack is not super important at a location. You also need to have a location out, which is a big ask right now for our current format. Like
Oh
there's
yeah.
almost nothing worth being ran at all, maybe beside from the library sometimes. But then its effect is just gaining one lore. Not great typically, unless you're strictly an aggro deck. It's rare we see burn effects like carry a bunch of weight on cards like this. Almost every deck just needs to win the board, and that's how you win the game. But
Mhm.
the other one is a little bit more interesting. We did see we have the Carl Fredrickson 1 cost to shift onto, so you can efficiently shift there, but it doesn't do anything super fancy. Like it's a 6/6 quest for 2 is pretty good stats, kind of comparable to like a Baymax shift on anything for 4 deal. But it's the other fact that it's sells it right. If this character's at a location, all their characters at the location get +1 in evasive. Giving evasive to stuff is traditionally pretty strong. It's just
Mhm.
can they take out that location and just kind of negate all this? And typically the answer is yes. Like
Yeah.
if you're playing this at a point in the game where you're 5-6 cards deep or 5-6 turns deep, they can typically just swing with their board unless you did something drastic to remove some of their guys. And they can just kind of be like, well, I'll take the location out now. And yes, you got your guys live because of it, but it doesn't really matter. Next turn, they'll just kind of deal with them.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at the location here that we have. It's Paradise Falls, exotic destination. It's a 4-cost inkable, costs 2 to move there. It has 7 willpower. While you have a character here, this location gets +3. So you put the Carl Fredrickson here, you quest with him, you draw 4.
Yeah, I think the curve of Carl Fredrickson into this and drawing 4 with questing is pretty good actually. It's just a thing of how consistently can we do that? What in the format can disrupt you? Because you have to play the call first, right? Because it costs 2 to move there. You can't play this first. Not that you want to, because they could probably just take it out. But I think it really just depends. If there's nothing that it can mess with Carl Fredrickson on 4, and you just curve into this next turn, probably pretty good. Like
Yeah.
I see drawing 4 cards and also threatening, 5 lord just between Carl and the location alone seems fairly good. But also stuff like this, you have to look at what it costs to play something like this. That like this might be the only synergy that's worth playing. So like maybe you just put it into a mid range deck, but like typically what we're seeing is like we're getting all these up cards, and you usually have to play a bunch of them for it to make sense with the synergies. But maybe I don't know. Maybe this is just generically good enough that we don't need to be playing the other up cards that seem kind of lackluster.
Yeah, this location seems really cool. Already thinking of like, I'm back to Infinity, but there are so many cool like move to location cards that are in Infinity. Some of the racers, Taffeta, Mud and Fudge comes to mind. Tuk Tuk. Don't even get me started on my boy Jim Hawkins, who you can play this card, play him. This card comes in for free, and he gets to move to it for free as well. That's a crazy combo.
Yeah, I think Touch the Sky is also interesting with this.
Yeah.
I believe it would work if you play Touch the Sky and move somebody there. It counts as they're there before the second effect happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm almost for sure it does, but you're essentially drawing 4 cards with Touch the Sky if that is how it works, and that is actually very good. I tried to play
But Touch
with
the Sky is steel, isn't it? So you can't play it with
it is steel.
Carl and
You're not playing
Paradise.
Carl with this, but Touch the Sky
No.
is like definitely a better Carl in a sense that you don't need him to survive.
I see.
So yeah, you could just play a 2-cost, sing Touch the Sky, move them, draw 4 cards. I think that's how it would work, right? Because the card Touch the Sky resolves first before any other effects happen, but
Yes.
the first effect is to move the character. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure it would work, but this is definitely the best location for that. We don't have to play Illuminary Tunnels anymore and have 3 locations to draw a decent amount of cards with Touch the Sky. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe Touch the Sky has its time to shine now with a card like this.
Yeah, very interested in this card. I think it could be really strong. So shout out to the up cards being super synergistic. Here we have an up card and a Monsters Inc. card. Man, I'm all over the place today. Here we go. 1-cost inkable item. Bunch of balloons. First ability, float away. When you play this item, choose a location of yours while this item is in play. That location gains evasive. Second ability, out of sight. 3 ink. Return this item to your hand. Ooh.
Interesting. So if you I think the out of sight ability really is not relevant for this. It's kind of like, I mean, yes, eventually if they take out your evasive location, you can just reuse this and
Yeah.
replay it. But
Give
I
it to
think
something else.
the idea is that you play this and hopefully your location with evasive never gets taken down, and you just at the cost of losing one card and when one ink to play this, it eventually will weigh out with the value you gain from it. I don't know. This card seems pretty strong, actually.
Yeah.
I think giving a location evasive probably means post rotation that it's just living for at least your mid game, whatever curve you're trying to play towards with this. So if there is a location where there's a payoff good enough, I think it's
I think Paradise Falls is probably good enough.
Yeah,
right?
maybe Paradise. I mean, that's the one it's clearly intended to be with. But yeah, maybe that's just good enough to play with it. I think if you look at a card like Winter Spell, card is like pretty good. One cost inkable cantrip that protects a location is like on paper very strong. If there's any location that's worth protecting, I think right now just locations are very weak. And like the one style of decks traditionally that we saw locations being somewhat strong in the game's history was just play a McDuck Manor and have a board wipe. So when we don't have board wipes like that, there's like almost no reason to do any sort of protecting of locations. But maybe now's the time. Now's the time we have a location. We got Paradise Falls. We're playing a bunch of balloons. We're flying away protecting it. We're It's like the Avatar floating mountains or whatever. We're bringing it up.
Yeah, I agree. I think this location synergy is super exciting. It's definitely something I'm going to give a try for sure. The next card we have here is an action. It's 4-cost inkable sapphire. It's called Power Surge. Each player puts the top 2 cards of their deck into their inkwell, face down, and exerted.
This one's interesting. So if you look at cards like How Far I'll Go, that traditionally are very good into like play a ramp on 2, play that on 3, ramp again. This card would fit that bill perfectly, but you have the downside of giving your opponent ink as well, and they're the first one to be able to use that ink because they're going to untap their next turn. So that is a huge downside. But maybe there's decks that are just so powerful at using ink that it's fine to just give it to them. Usually stuff like that means having a board wipe in your deck, and you're just going to say, I don't care that I give you ink because I'm going to eventually board wipe you in 1 or 2 turns and take away that option. But even so, you're giving them resources because they don't have to ink, and they can know that's coming, just not commit everything to the board with that extra ink. So I don't know. I think this card is pretty interesting. I think it definitely just requires a super controlling deck to be able to utilize the benefit more and not care about the downside of giving your opponent 2 free ink.
Yeah, it's kind of like a mini version of the Kita that we saw last set, the legendary that gives everybody, 7 ink? 5 ink?
5 ink if you have cards in your discard. This card is interesting with that card because not only does it give you ink and hyper ramps you, seemingly this is the second ramp card you'd play, and you'd play the Kita the following turn, but it also puts another card into your discard, which is pretty tough to do for most decks, I would say, that aren't, playing stuff like develops and sales and actions early, maybe you just go ramp into Power Surge into Kita, and then Kita ramps again, and then you have like 12, 13 ink, and you're just like, okay, this is my plan. I can use 12, 13 ink on turn 5, 6.
Emerald Sapphire maybe could be.
Yeah, or even maybe Amber Sapphire is another interesting one.
What did I say?
You said Emerald Sapphire.
I meant Amber, yeah.
Yeah,
with Raging Storm, yeah.
Yeah, you got Raging Storm. I think we definitely need that. Unfortunately, Kita can't sing Raging Storm, so like it's a little bit in an awkward spot. We saw Olaf be able to sing B Prep as a pretty viable strategy against some of the more aggressive decks in Infinity. So not being able to have Kita sing it feels a little bit weird because if you play Kita, ramp yourself, and then you play Raging Storm, you just lose that big Kita. And oftentimes you don't have 15 inks, so you can at least use the Kita's ability first, take a card from it, and then play Raging Storm. So maybe that's not the way to build it, but like it definitely seems like this card wants to be played with something like Kita.
Yeah, I agree. Up next, we're getting into turning red here. We have Ming Lee, Proud Parent. She's a 3-cost inkable amber card. She's a 2/3. If you have a character named Mei Lin Lee in play, you may pay 1 less to play this character, so she could potentially come in for 2. Her next ability, Follow the Music. If you played a song this turn, you may pay 1 less to play this character. Interesting.
Double discounts. If we could play a 1-cost 2/3 that quests for 2. I'll let you start. What are your thoughts on something like this?
I mean, they're For a 3 cost, a 2/3, usually at that stat line, we see something come in and has an enter the play ability, something like Benja, and it impacts the board immediately. But you're able to discount it. But my thoughts are you're discounting stuff in Amber anyway with a Cood. Like you're going to play a Songs deck, you discount this anyway. It depends on how good Malin Lee is as well. I'm not a super big fan of this card unless there's like a Floodborn or something that would make it crazy. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan just because there are so many good 2-questers in Amber already that you can discount easily with Willow and a Cood already.
Yeah, I think we could probably take a look at like Mr. Smee and compare it to this card. If we only get one of the discounts, the easier one obviously being you have a song because it's just generically easier to do than tailoring your deck around Malin Lee. You're playing a 2-cost inkable 2/3 that quests for 2. That's like pretty comparable to Smee. I'd say Smee is honestly just a little bit better, especially when Rapunzel was in the format, and it's actually could be a benefit the damage on him. So immediately this card doesn't stick out to me as being fantastic, but maybe there is some way to like play a Malin Lee on turn 1, and then turn 2 play a Singer, and then turn 3 sing, discount this down to 1, play this plus something else, and have like a fairly aggressive like tempo strategy where you play to removal and you have 4 guys on the board now, and you're questing out the next turn and you're putting on a lot of pressure. So it really just depends on whatever the Malin Lee I think that you have to play is like. If it's just a 1-cost 2/2 or something, shift target, and you have to play that to activate this, it's probably not good enough. But if it is very good and like some sort of aggressive tempo strategy and there's early songs to sing, yeah, playing this for 1 is pretty good.
Yeah. Up next, we have more. We have 2 more Minglees. And the first one is a 4-cost uninkable 3/3 in Amethyst. She's the overprotective parent. You're grounded is her ability. When you shift the character on top of this character chosen, opposing exerted character can't ready to the start of their next turn, and she quests for 2. We also have the shift option here, which is Ming Li, Giant Red Panda. She's a 9-cost inkable 10/10. She has temporary shift. For 7, you may pay 7 ink to play this on one of your characters named Ming Li. At the end of your turn, remove all damage from this character and return only this card to your hand. Whenever this character challenges another character, ready her, she can't quest for the end of the turn. For the rest of this turn. So, looks like a Monstro for 7, and then you get your overprotective parent back. You ready your overprotective parent, or you're the one we just saw, the biggest fan, if you want to play Amber Ruby. Interesting. It's like a replayable Monstro.
Yeah, it's I like the interesting effect. We don't get too many cards in this game, at least yet, that have like a bounce back to hand after the end of the turn. Also, the 4-cost Ming Li is interesting because I think it's the first time we have, when you shift, you get an effect from a card that's underneath. I think that's the first time. I don't think this one's very good per se, but it is interesting that they're adding more mechanics into the game that's without changing too much, which is nice. But I think the 4-cost is just really, really bad stats, and the effect is not that great. I think it needs to exert and have this effect for it to be any chance of it being good. But the big one is kind of interesting. I think if we look at the Ming Li that we just talked about before, the Amber one, and you have something like a Cood, maybe you're cheating out a temporary shift early, and you can kind of threaten a big board wipe, and it comes back to hand. You still have a character on board. I think that's kind of interesting, but I think it's a little bit too expensive. I think 7 is a lot. I think probably 6 is what you're looking for. If you cheat out an early Amber Mingling while still playing something else for your curve, and then you have an Akud, I think you definitely want to be playing it on turn 4, because turn 5 is a lot. A lot of the game's gone by then, and obviously this is a card that, if they quest out and you're threatening it, it can wipe their board. But if people have interaction, there's going to be problems with that, and you need a Singer for Akud, and you need the Ming Li to shift onto. So might just be a little bit too hard to do.
Yeah. Up next, we have Malin Lee in Amethyst. She's a 2-cost 2/3, superficially obedient. Newfound Confidence is her ability. When you shift a character on top of her, this character gains evasive until the start of your next turn. So there we have another one. Obviously, it depends on what is shifting onto her, but we'll see that in just a second. I'm Never Not By Your Side is a 5-cost inkable song. It's also a sing together song, sing together 5. Remove up to 4 damage total from any number of your characters. You gain 1 lore for each 1 damage removed this way.
Interesting. It's Grandpappy the song, for any Grandpappy ball knowers out there. Which I guess this card would work super well with Grandpappy because it's just doubling the effect, I think. I don't even know what Grandpappy does other than healing gives you lore. I'm not sure the restrictions, but I think it would work. But yeah, I don't know. The Malin's pretty standard. 2 cost, 2/3, quest for 1, shift target. The effect is nice, especially if it has like an on quest ability, which I assume the Malin shift will have. The other card though is like, I don't know about that. It's like an aggressive card that needs damage on your guys, which you're not really gonna have guys with high toughness. Something like a Daisy is probably the highest toughness that you're gonna have in a very aggressive deck. And even then, it's like you have to swing with it to accrue up to 3 damage, and it can just quest for 2, so you're only plussing 1 with, and also you have to like hard cast it then, because if you're singing with somebody, you're not questing with them. So probably a card that needs very specific conditions to get like the effect from.
Yeah, I don't see it for I'm Never Not By Your Side. Reminds me of Everybody's Got a Weakness, where you could move the damage actually and gain cards as well, draw cards, and most of the time putting cards in your hand is better than gaining lore at random intervals, especially like you said when you're singing this. And if you're singing it, you could just quest it anyway. I guess you can just pay 5 and do it, and then maybe get like a huge lore burst. But like you said, you have to have damage on your own stuff. Maybe if there's a way to like put 1 damage on all your characters and then quest out and play this, I don't know.
There's that Ruby Zeus is the only thing I can think of where this is kind of efficient. I think it's a 5-cost that you could sing only with the Zeus and then just gain 4 lore.
Yeah, that's true.
But the style of deck you'd probably be playing that would have like Ohana, and then it's like, okay, you're giving up drawing 4 cards with Ohana versus just to have the burst of lore. And so a deck like that is probably a control based deck, and you're doing that after a board wipe. So it's like, I don't really care about lore. I just care about establishing, keeping you off of 20 lore while establishing my own win con later on.
Yeah. We've got some more turning red cards here. The first one is a 1-cost inkable amber action. Besties Assemble. Look at the top 4 cards of your deck. You may reveal a character card, put in your hand, put the rest in the bottom of your deck in any order. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's a 1-cost inkable, which is, I already like that. It's also an action. I've been very action pilled recently, having played Ruby Steel action. So if it's 1-cost and inkable, I'm definitely at least going to look at it no matter what color it's printed in. Yeah, so looking at the top 4, putting a character is pretty good. If you think about in a format with Doc, Amber Steel loves to do stuff like that, where we have Nani, we play it and grab a character. It's also comparable with like Be Our Guest, which was a singable 2-cost action or song. That's like, okay, you can't sing it, but this is 1 less cost, so it's feels much better to fit it in when you're hard casting it. I actually do like this card. I don't necessarily think it's super strong, but I was a big Be Our Guest fan, so having something similar to that does make me excited.
Yeah, and it doesn't have any restriction on it, like You've Got a Friend in Me or Nani. It can be any character, which I like a lot. The next card is Four Town, Hottest Band of the Year. It's a 4-cost uninkable amber 5/5 with Singer 5, so it's a 4-cost that gets +1 to sing, which is really interesting. Star Performance, whenever this character sings a song with Sing Together, draw a card.
Interesting. All right, so we're trying to sing together, and I'm wondering if the other Four Town members are going to be a part of having all interesting effects that if they sing together, they give you benefits. I'd imagine this one is the best effect because it's drawing a card. I don't think they would all say draw a card. Maybe it would. You just assemble all of Four Town, and you have Exodia, and you draw 4 cards. But I don't think this card is that insane. I think
singing together. What are we singing together? Look at This Family, Eye to Eye, Pirate's Life, Under the Sea, Dig a Little Deeper, Second Star to the Right.
The Steel one. I always forget.
Beyond the Horizon.
Beyond the Horizon would be a nice one because you could potentially, ink
Draw
down
4.
to 0, or have that be your last card, and then you sing and you draw the trigger at the end, so you draw 4. That's pretty cool. Yeah, we don't have a ton of good sing together songs in the format right now. I think they said they're showing they want a lot more of them. But yeah, I think the stats are pretty good. It is uninkable, but it's a 4-cost 5/5 is pretty good for having an upside. I think that's
big.
That's usually pretty rare to see as a card, especially one that draws a card, I think. So yeah, this card could have some potential. It does need the condition of being a sing together deck, which might be kind of tough, but I do like to see cards that have good effects like this that are just like terrible stats, and you can kind of just play them on curve.
Up next here is the 1-cost Maylin Lee. She is the lead vocalist. She's a 0/3 with Singer 3. This character can't sing songs without Sing Together. So hopefully we see some more Sing Together cards. I would assume we're going to get a whole bunch in this set. And then we have the 6-cost Maylin Lee popular Red Panda. She also has temporary shift, just like her mother. She temporary shifts for 3. She quests for 3. She's a 4/5. And her ability, Karaoke Queen. Once during your turn, whenever this character sings a song, gain 3 lore. So she can come down, sing a song immediately, gain 3 lore, or just quest for 3. Pretty interesting. So you can get a lot of value out of this card by singing, gaining 3 lore, and then getting the songs ability.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think the almost more interesting way to use this card is just to swing at something like kind of like a fox would, and then have it bounce back to your hands. The only downside being that even with healing, you just have like a 0/3 that's turned sideways against on your board, so your opponent will easily pick that off like with no punishment. But this card is kind of like an all-star of like it could do anything. You could shift it and quest for 3, you could shift it and sing something, get an effect, and gain 3 lore. Or like I said, you could swing into something. So I do like the versatility of the card, and having a 1-cost that seems like it has a fairly good upside and some sort of strategy that you're doing with these sing together songs. The temporary shift 3 seems like it's much more efficient than the other one, the Ming Li shift. So yeah. I think this card is kind of cool. I think having threatening something that's like I want to set up a board that can sing together, but I might have this shift 3 that stops your tempo from you just running away with the game is an important thing to have in certain strategies like this. So I like this card. I think it's pretty cool.
Shift in Maylin Lee with 4 town on the board. Sing second star to the right, gain 3 lore, draw 5. Thoughts?
Yeah, there you go. I think does the second star rotate, or did we? No, we got that in Fabled. So
I guess you can't even do that because H down.
It's an amber. It's an amber card, yeah.
Or it would be draw 6, but you can still do this with Maylin Lee and somebody else sing together second star, because we do have the amethyst shift target. But yeah, I think there's a lot of cool stuff that you can potentially do with this. Just gaining 3 lore for singing anything. Like imagine if this was in steel, like you shift this, sing He Hurled His Thunderbolt, remove something, gain 3 lore at the same time. Pretty good, but that doesn't exist. I guess you could sing Grab Your Bow, something like that, remove 2 things and gain 3 lore. It just
you sing Down in New Orleans, and you play another Maylin Lee up and down in New Orleans.
Now he's cooking.
You're getting 6 lore per song you sing.
Yeah, and you don't have to temporary shift this for 3. Obviously, you can just play it for 6, right? So, yeah. A cood,
you could have cooed it out.
Get it out early.
This is the one color combination that we're gonna have a lot of cheating stuff out. So yeah, I mean, I think it seems pretty interesting. I think if there's enough sing together efficient stuff, like Maylin Lee, the 1-cost is already a card you'd put in a sing together deck that has good songs. So I think this is an interesting way to just like threaten to shift and sing. We saw Green Blue play Baymax for a while, which is a really bad card at face value, but because it had a song that's efficient enough to sing Beat Under the Sea, it was very good. So yeah, this could be interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Here we get into the honey characters. This is really interesting. We're going to start with Christopher Robin. He is a 6-cost inkable. He is the Honey Sage. He is a blurple card that is Amethyst and Sapphire. He's a 4/4. He has the tags Dreamborn, Hero, and Honey, which are going to be very important. His first ability, Gather the Party. You can have other honey characters in your deck, regardless of ink type. His second ability, Magical Summons. When you play this character, you may search your deck for a honey card, reveal it, and put it in your hand. If you do, shuffle your deck. He also quests for 2. I think that if the other honey characters are really good, then this card is insane because it is just a card that searches exactly for what you want and allows you to play a bunch of other cards outside of the ink color combination of Amethyst and Sapphire, which could be extremely valuable. Of course, they do have to have the honey tag, but it's just searching anything out of your deck, any honey card out of your deck for whatever circumstance you find yourself in, has to be good if the other honey cards are worth playing.
Yeah, the honey cards have to be really good for this to be playable. We can look at a card like Gaston, which is pretty similar. It's a 6 cost, 4/4, quest for 3. Look at the top 3, you grab a card from those. That card was only really good right at the start of the game, so it's pretty comparable to that. Obviously, it quested for 1 more, but I think being inkable is definitely better than questing for 1 more and having that effect. But this is a tutor, but it's only for honey cards, so you'd have to have something really, really crazy that you're searching for. I don't even think there probably will be that just from the flavor of a card like this. If you think like, well, how do you even know that they have a Christopher Robin in their deck? They could play like with multiple different color honey cards and just never show up with a Christopher Robin and be like, have to ask afterwards, like, hey, show me the Christopher Robin that was in your deck the whole time, which is kind of funny. But to me, that screams that this is just not going to be a competitive thing at all in any kind of format. I think they're just kind of doing something fun here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the honey cards show up and they start wrecking people. But to me, I don't think they would make something like that super competitive that has like a weird, like, hey, you got to show the Christopher Robin at the end of the game or else it's like not good. So it is interesting that they have this effect though. Like when I first read this, I was like, what the heck are they doing? This is like something you can only do in Hearthstone, right? Stuff where it's like, okay, at the beginning of the game, it'll reveal itself to your opponent and show you that they have, met this condition because of obviously the online, it just knows. But yeah, I'll be interested to see if there is some good honey cards and they actually try to push this as something that's competitively played.
Yeah, the first one we have here is Tigger, the Honey Barbarian. He's a 5/4 in Ruby that costs 4. He has Reckless, and once during your turn, whenever this character challenges another character, you may ready chosen honey character. If you do, that character can't quest for the rest of this turn.
I don't really see this card being that good. I'll be honest. Yeah. 4 cost 5/4 with Reckless. Not good at face value at all by any means. And then the only upside being able to ready another character, and it has to be a honey character. I don't think that upside is super good. Like maybe you're readying it to sing a song or something again, or you sing a song and then you ready it to protect it. It's kind of cool, but it's also a card that they have to exert stuff to play into, and there's probably not going to be exert effects in this honey deck that are at least efficient enough to play. So probably not great.
Rush, could be like Rush, mini Maui. He'd be really good, I think, but he doesn't.
Rush for this card would be crazy, man. A 4 cost 5/4, but I think I'd rather see this card have Rush and have this effect be more consistent, and you just like nerf the stats or something.
Yeah, because Maui cost 1 more, but he was a 6/5, had 1 more stat each. Yeah, I think I agree with you. The next 2 that we have thus far are Rue and Winnie the Pooh, and we are going to get more than this. We've already seen in the art that Rabbit's going to have one, Owl as well, at the very least. Maybe the whole crew will have one. Eeyore, I would assume, would have one. But Rue is a 1 cost Emerald card. He is the Honey Rogue, and he is a 1 strength, 1 willpower character with Ward. While you have another honey character in play, he also gains evasive. Winnie the Pooh, you can play right after him.
He survives the Eleanor test, so he's instantly in every green deck. No, I think this card is like kind of bad. Honestly, I think all these like honey characters are like really like barely scraping by as like on rate is just a character to play on curve. And I don't think the synergy of Christopher Robin being able to go and grab one of these is going to be good enough to be played, sadly. It is nice for a card like this to have Ward, though, because if something like Storm ever gets printed again, it's like, okay, well, at least it doesn't get picked off by that.
Yeah, the Honey Wizard, he's the Honey Archmage here in Attack of the Vine. He's a 2 cost inkable 2/3 in Amethyst. His abilities stick together while you have 2 or more other honey characters in play. He gets +2 lore.
I mean, this is a pretty good card. Like a 2 cost 2/3 that costs for 3. Like we could kind of compare that to like a Nala. It's just a better Nala
Yeah.
essentially. So I don't know. Maybe they're going for an aggro flavor, but Christopher Robin doesn't really fit that being 6 costs and picking out stuff. So
Yeah, neither
maybe
does Tigger, right?
yeah, maybe it's either there's two different plans of archetypes going on with the honey stuff, or like that's the theme of we have got these ragtag things that don't really make sense together, and we're pulling them all together with Christopher Robin or something that just I guess makes thematic sense with this kind of D&D like group that they're going for theme wise.
Yeah. Um, maybe if something comes together here with all of the honey characters, like I said, there are more to come. If there's a 1-drop, a 2-drop, a 3-drop that has a pretty aggressive line, which it looks like these two would. Obviously, Rue would get Ward once Winnie the Pooh comes down, and then once another one comes down, Winnie the Pooh quests for 3. So if you can go 1, 2, 3, and maybe you just play one of Christopher Robin in your deck just to enable this aggro strategy, it could be fine. But we just need to see more, I think, at this point. But right now, it's not looking super promising. Up next, I'm apologize for the quality on this. Is the best I could get. Belle, always reading. She's a 2-cost 2/3. You may pay 1 less to shift a character on top of this character. I love this ability.
Yeah, I think this ability is pretty interesting. It's kind of like I guess it makes sense to like if you wanted to print other Bell cards that are very strong and you're worried about having too many good shift targets or something, it's like, okay, well, the reason to play this one is because it's very cheap to shift onto it. Yeah, it's kind of an interesting effect. And I think if there is a very good Bell that to shift onto it, it could be very good. It's just a kind of vanilla 2/3 quest for 1,
We
slightly
have the
underrated.
accomplished mystic right now in the game.
Yes, that's the amethyst one, right? The
Yeah.
boost damage, yeah. So having something that's much cheaper than that is nice. Yeah. I'm curious to see the shift targets to see if it's actually worth shifting onto.
Well, let's take a look here because we have Bell and Beast, an 8-cost uninkable. Bell and Beast, certain as the sun. They are a 6/7. They have storyboard team, hero, prince, and princess tags, so a whole heck of a lot there. They shift for 6. If you have the Bell, they shift for 5. Whenever this character quests, ready all cards in your inkwell. Second ability, appreciative audience. You can pay 6, ready your other characters. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. They also quest for 3. I don't know, man. This card looks the abilities are really powerful. The biggest problem with like Mufasa is he came down, he had the super powerful ability, right? Ready all the cards in your inkwell, but he had to survive the turn, and if he didn't, it was so bad because you de-ramped yourself by 2. This can shift in immediately, quest for 3, ready all cards in your inkwell, so if it's shifting for 6, you can now pay another 6. It seems pretty versatile. It does cost 8, but if you're able to play it in a Ruby Sapphire deck where you ramp and you can ink things with like Tipo or Fishbone Quill, if we have the ability to do that, you can sort of negate its uninkability a little bit. But I think it's a really cool card. I think it's a really powerful ability. It just depends on like how consistent can you get this out. You can shift it on Bell or Beast. But yeah, I think the ability is super cool.
Yeah, this one like reads like a card that like has the potential to absolutely break a format where there's not a lot of interaction. So like maybe post rotation, if we don't have anything really efficient to stop our opening curves, and we like threaten to shift this for 5 on that 2-cost Bell, you just kind of win the game in some ways, I guess. Like that's the one condition is like post rotation not be enough interaction to stop the shift, and then also we need to have enough cards to make use of this ink. Obviously, it's questing for 3, so that's some good pressure to put on a clock. Can you use that other ink? Like, can you get to the spot, shift, and then have enough cards in hand to like use it to make this like eventually work? Ideally, you're using it to protect this for one more turn, and then you really go off the next turn. It's enough to just end the game. But I do think there is some potential if those two conditions are met, and we have like just enough card draw and just enough. Just not enough interaction to stop this. I do think this could kind of go crazy.
Yeah.
Like obviously it has the second ability, so if you don't have cards immediately or like too many cards immediately, you just want to like ready them to protect your guys. It's pretty good. My head initially goes to like, okay, we want to, if we're shifting playing that bell on 2 and we're shifting for 5, we want to play like a Mickey on 3 to skip to the 4 ink turn and shift this on the next turn. And like that's pretty cool because like you have Mickey that can sing something for 3 potentially. I don't think there's much right now, but maybe there will be something. And you can like ready him, just ready all your stuff and then wait for next turn. But yeah, this is kind of cool, I guess. It's a little bit sad that you can't sing with this 8 cost because you really want the effect of readying your inkwell, but I guess it does have the flexibility to sing something like dig a little deeper for the first trigger. Maybe if you need to go grab a couple cards, you could also untap with the Lilo if you're running some sort of action style deck with this. That's a little bit demanding because if you're shifting, you probably couldn't play have too many cards in hand to pop off with like 3 actions, then play a Lilo, untap, then quest and ready all the inkwell and again. But I think if we get some good actions that are like hand friendly and replace themselves, this could be enough to be played in some kind of action deck like that. And if Lilo untaps this, you're really, really going crazy.
Yeah. That would also be Infinity, but we still have Olaf around.
Yeah, I do. That's right. Lilo does rotate. Olaf doesn't,
gone.
Sadly. Very, very sad. It's not like you could like quest again. Lilo says when you untap, they can't quest for this turn, but it'd be a cool way where you could quest so you could play actions after shifting, then you could play the Lilo untap and it protects it, or maybe even then sing the dig a little deeper with the shift, and that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, probably not good enough for Infinity where we know there's a lot of interaction to stop stuff like that.
Yeah, the other card here that we have is Lilo and Stitch, Fun-Loving Friends. They're a 5-cost inkable, 3/5 Storyborn Team Hero Alien in Amber Steel. They shift for 3, they quest for 3, they have resist 1 and support. I don't know. Seems cool. I like it. Quest for 3, you can shift onto your Lilo or your Stitch. Play it as like top end in an aggressive shell. Amber Steel aggro, traditionally been a pretty good aggressive shell. Resist 1 makes it more resilient, and quest for 3. You shift this on 3. Gotta be pretty good, right? Especially if you have like a 1-cost Stitch, maybe you play the 2-cost Lilo that quest for 2. You shift this on 3, quest for 5. Now you have you have the Lilo, which has to take 2 damage to be removed, and then Stitch, Lilo and Stitch has resist +1, a big body.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I think this is very, very on rate. If you're gonna do a shift target for an aggressive deck, it's got to be something like very strong like this. It's pretty bad typically to be shifting in any sort of aggressive deck because you're not, shifting onto something is already just eliminating that lore for that turn on that character. So it's got to be like something like at least 3 lore to make up for that, and it's also just got to stick around enough to where it was worth giving up playing multiple other cards for this one character on that turn. And this really does that. I think this is like pretty sticky, like a 3/5 shift 3 with having multiple 1-cost targets to shift onto is like pretty scary. Like if you shift this on 3 and just start questing, there's not going to be a lot, I don't think, post rotation that can immediately remove that. They're probably going to be having to send two things to challenge into this unless there's all the decks have something where they can hit for 6 easily. At least on the draw, I don't think anybody's doing that. And it's probably going to stick around for at least 1 or 2 quests.
Lilo and Stitch aggro, I think it could be online. We have one cost right now that you can shift onto. It was the Lilo Snow Artist, which is from Winter Spell. She's a 1-cost inkable 1/2, and she has the ability Creative Inspiration. While you have a character named Stitch in play, this character gets +1 lore. So if you're already playing Lilos, you're already playing Stitches, this character could just be good on its own, a 1/2 that quest for 2, but then it just is a shift target. You can play stuff like Pudge in the deck. And then, like I said, Lilo bundled up with this card on board has to be insane. There's also
I'd imagine we get probably a 1-cost Stitch in this set to match the 1-cost 1/2 Lilo. I'd be kind of shocked if they literally just left it as the 2-cost Steel Stitch is the only thing that you can shift onto for Stitch. But
yeah, well, we have the 2-cost 2/3 that was reprinted, the Alien Dancer from Fabled.
Yeah, that one's
Yeah.
Doesn't feel good either. I mean, maybe it's too strong if we have 8 1-costs we could shift onto. We don't have to play cards like that 2-cost 2/3. But I think it makes sense if they at least printed. They're going to print some sort of Stitch for this archetype, and it would make sense if it was a 1-cost.
Yeah, I also like that. Okay, this has support. which can be really relevant a lot of the time. It maybe could allow you to play World's Greatest Criminal Mind as like a one of or two of, just to remove anything on the opposite side of the board.
Yeah,
Probably not,
I
but
think
it
support is
could
just
happen.
generically good. If you're questing for 3 with this, you're kind of fine with being like, okay, well, I can swing any of my little guys and not quest for 1 or 2 with them if I want to, and just like protect this and make sure it's like gonna be really hard to remove this one card. So I think the support is actually like
Your
pretty
Lilo
good.
bundled up because
Yeah,
the
and
first time it takes damage, it ignores it, right? So you can swing in for 4 with that and potentially take something out and lose nothing.
that's only on your opponent's turn. So
Oh, is it only on opponent's turn?
yeah, you
Oh,
can't.
it
That would be kind of
is.
crazy if you could do that. But
Yeah,
no,
that would
I
be
think it's like,
crazy.
to me, this screams like this is the ultimate tempo card. Like if you're playing like some sort of like not even full aggro, but like just tempo based Ember Steel deck, this thing puts on a lot of pressure. It's hard to remove, and it like threatens to kind of like play a fair back and forth game plan.
It's a good singer if you
With the
need it.
support, yeah, you can sing with it. If you sing a removal after doing this, it's going to be really tough for your opponent to remove this. So I actually really like this card. I think it'll be pretty solid, at least to start out post rotation.
And here we have the iconics for it. They are Cinemayhem. They are movie poster themed. I love them both. I think these are going to be the most divisive ones that we have thus far. But I'm a big movie guy. You know me. I'm always watching movies nonstop. I have a bunch of movie posters up in my house. I love movies. I love the way these look. A lot of people have said Lilo and Stitch are their favorite. I think Beauty and the Beast is gorgeous. I love the way that the villains down here, Gaston, LeFou, and the angry mob are all in the red, kind of denoting that they are that villainous thing. And the blue background at the top makes it look very cool. Ruby Sapphire. They did do that a bit with the Lilo and Stitch, but the amber is really taking over the card. It looks like a gold card, whereas like Belle and Beast looks a little bit more like a Ruby Sapphire card. I do like how it is Belle and Beast. It would have been funny if they just called the card Beauty and the Beast, but it is what it is. What do you think of these iconics?
I think they look really cool. I think I'm on the people side. I think the Lilo and Stitch one looks a lot better than the Belle and Beast, but I do think it's probably just a little bit hard to see without being in person. Those colors kind of pop off, but I think, to me, the Lilo and Stitch card is going to like set off the collectability of Lilo and Stitch to the next level of like, okay, right now we're going through all like the Mickey and Minnie and Fab Five cards might be like exploding in value because that's like what you want to collect, right? Those are the big ones, like alongside Elsa as well. I think Lilo and Stitch has the potential to be like okay, Lilo and Stitch is also like all the cards, all the enchantments are chased for it because it's Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah.
I think this card would kind of has a chance to push that archetype of collected in value to that, which would be kind of cool because I think already we're seeing a little bit with cards like the Snowboarder Stitch Epic kind of popping off right now. So I think this would be like a big chase, and in turn would like up the value of all the other Lilo and Stitch cards. But yeah, I think they're pretty cool. I like the castle on the back of the Belle and the Beast card. And I am interested. Like, I think both these cards in my mind have the potential to be very strong in a post rotation format.
Yeah.
And seeing them as iconics kind of leads me to believe that they want them to be very strong, at least initially. So I'm excited to see if that's true. And if it is, like, they could potentially be very oppressive. I think both of them have the potential to Lilo and Stitch come out really early for something that's almost impossible to deal with efficiently, and Belle and Beast being able to come down and potentially just end the game with, like, untapping my ink and doing something really unfair to make it survive. And the next turn I'm like really going off because I know it again, and I didn't have to spend my ink to shift, so you're like just got 12 free ink to go crazy. So I am interested to see if these cards are both like actually very format warping.
Yeah, I think they're both really strong. I'm glad that they're both really strong. I want to see people play 4 Lilo and Stitch iconics in their deck. So get them while you can and give it a shot. But don't go into debt doing so. The next cards we have here are the Vinelings. They're all Floodborn, but they don't shift, which is interesting. To say the least. Imagine Bucky Squirrel Squeak Tutor was still around and you could play him with Vinelings. Oh my goodness, they would be
We still got Blue
insane.
Fairy, dude. Blue Fairy's the fair version of Bucky, all right? It's a 1/1 evasive. You play a Floodborn, you draw a card.
Draw a card. Everybody's happy. The first one is Ursula, created by the Vine. She is an Amber 4-cost inkable 3/2. Ability Energy Sap. Whenever one of your Floodborne characters quests, a chosen opposing character gets -1 strength until the start of your next turn, and she quests for 2. Super understated character, pretty easy to remove, costs a lot.
Yeah,
I don't know if I see it. Yeah.
That was really bad, which usually indicates that there's something really strong with like Floodborne and Synergy together, but I don't know, man. It'd have to be crazy strong for something like this. And it seemed that
just play
there's a
Tessie, right?
seeing that there's a
Toys.
1-cost Pete, that's also the Floodborne Violin tag on it. I don't think there's gonna be much that is crazy like that.
Yeah. Pete is a 1-cost inkable 1/2 and amethyst Pete, and they're all created by the Vine. So it'd be very easy for us casters to remember the sub names of these. Created by the Vine. That's it. Pete, created by the Vine. Thorny Overgrowth is his ability. Your Floodborne characters gain Challenger 1. Any quest for 1. This is like Skater Mim for 1 less, but for the Floodborne Vineling deck.
Probably not great. It does give himself Challenger +1, so he's kind of just a 1-cost goon at the very least, and has your synergies, but probably not enough of these efficient guys to be good.
I do love how these characters are like, obviously they're created by the Vine. That's a whole story thing. I'm a huge story nerd, but their like clothes are all made of like leaves.
Are they created by the Vine, or are they corrupted by the Vine? Because
they're created by the Vine.
Oh, okay. They're actually just full on plants. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was like Last of Us, where like they're overtaken by something and they're kind of being controlled. But I guess that makes...
created by the Vine. Vinelings. That's right.
I think that the Vanessa looks like she's cosplaying Shigo from Kim Possible. That's the vibes I got from that when I saw
the green eyes.
Yeah, the green
magic. We have a couple more Vine cards here. We have Gaston, created by the Vine, a 2-cost inkable ruby card. He's a 2/2 drawing strength. Your Floodborne characters get +1 strength. So he's Lumiere, but for Floodborne characters only. So if there's like a Vineling tribal deck, then he's probably a better choice than Lumiere. But otherwise, I think you're just picking Lumiere every day, because obviously everything just gets +1 to Lumiere. They're the exact same card, right?
Yeah. Kind of interesting that they printed the 1-cost Pete and they printed this, and it's like, okay, we're double buffing when we're challenging. Our curve is
cool.
Our curve is 1-cost Pete and the Gaston. Don't turn stuff sideways, because we're
we need some payoff for challenging, if that's going to be the case. But the real big bombshell here was the Vine, the Towering Stalk. 10-cost inkable 10/10 Floodborne. It does have that shift, so you can shift it onto any Floodborne character for 7. As long as they have the Floodborne tag, you can shift the Vine on top of them. First ability, Saturate. Your other exerted Floodborne characters gain Bodyguard. A Hostile Swarm. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your Floodborne characters is banished, deal 1 damage to each opposing character. It also quests for 3. What do you think?
This thing is just really, really bad. Like, I think if you compare this to like Leviathan that we just got last set, it's like, what are we doing, man? We got to be wheeling and dealing with our little Floodborns to just ping enough to do anything, I think. It is interesting that it can shift onto any of the Floodborns, but I don't know, man. If I'm always looking out for big chunky guys to bring out with cheat out with, like Return to Hercules or Circle of Life. And I got excited when it was steel, because like Amber Steel is one of the colors that you can play Circle of Life with and cheat out stuff. But this thing is just not it. I wouldn't even put it in that deck. It's just a big guy. Like, it's like Mickey, but does nothing. The big Mickey.
Yeah. I'm not too overly impressed with this card. But maybe somebody will come in and break it somehow. Maybe the rest of the Vinelings will make it crazy powerful, like worth to play at the top end. The threat of shifting it at any time could just make it worth it. It seems like the Vinelings sort of have that like honey quality to them, at least thus far, where it's like we have 4 different colors of Vinelings and Floodborns at this point. We have the Amber, the Amethyst, the Ruby, and the Steel. But you can't play all of them in the deck, right? And they all sort of synergize together. So it'd be interesting to see if there is a card like Christopher Robin that enables all of these as well, just to have 2 in the same set. But the art is incredible. We have the Mickey Mouse there. I believe that's the Mickey Mouse from Jack and the Giant Beanstalk, looking at this towering vine, and these like vineling creatures that it's created are also really, really cool. They remind me of Heartless from Kingdom Hearts, if you're familiar with that. But love the art. We'll have to see on the character.
Yeah, I think it's the only card that's just Floodborn though, which is interesting.
Yeah, just Floodborn.
Just to see
no other
Floodborn
decks.
there is kind of wild.
Born of the Flood. Here we have some more of these team up characters. It's Woody and Buzz Lightyear, a 7-cost inkable Amber Emerald 4/4. So 7 cost 4/4. The ability's got to be pretty good. It does shift for 5, however, onto a Woody or a Buzz. To Infinity is his first ability. When you play this character, if chosen opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw cards until you have the same number. And beyond, whenever this character quests, you may play a card with 2 cost 2 or less for free, and it quests for 3. So it has the same ability as the Woody shift, where when it quests, you play something 2 cost or less for free. But if your opponent has more cards in their hand than you, draw cards until you have that same number. It's like Clarabelle, right?
It's like Clarabelle, except it only happens once when you play it, which is
Yep.
potentially with the feedback from people is that that's the balanced way to do Clarabelle is don't make it happen
Clarabelle's a little insane
every turn. But I really love this card. I might be core control brained here after playing a lot of core control in Infinity, but I love this type of effect. To me, my head instantly goes to, okay, I like Singing a Cood. I shift onto my 1-cost Woody. I draw like 3 cards. You know, I play Quest with it. I play like a Willow for free, play another dude, and then like I like sing a 0 to hero and play out a Clarabelle and like really pop off. But I actually think this card is very interesting. I think it has the potential to do some really cool stuff. I don't know if it'll happen immediately in core because it is kind of something that needs specific cards to really take advantage of. But I will say the one downside of shifting typically is that you're giving up cards. Like you have to play a character every turn to have these shift targets, and then you're shifting onto it. You're losing that character on board. So having an effect that actually like replenishes cards to your hands, being part of the shift, is actually pretty cool. It also is like fairly statted. You know, if you're shifting it, you get a 4/4 and then it quests for 3, and you want to quest right away because you're playing stuff for free to take advantage of the cards you just drew. So like it's like kind of like any Clarabelle deck that had ever potential of just being an aggro deck, if you just wanted to curve out but still like do some cool Clarabelle effects, has like the potential to do that, which I did notice when I was playing control a lot, that sometimes versus the control decks, you just played a bunch of 1s and 2s and like won the game by questing and being like a tempo deck. So something like this for sure, with discount cards like Willow and like a Cood, and having cheap shift targets with the 1-cost Woody and the 2-cost Buzz, I think this has some potential to do some fun stuff, especially if we get any more cards that are of that similar flavor.
Yeah, I hope this one isn't enchanted as well. I think it would just be so cool to have the Woody and Buzz Lightyear card, dual ink, enchanted team up card. I think it would be a slam dunk. Let's take a look at what one of the enchanteds may look like, and that is Pocahontas and Miko, a 4-cost inkable Amber and Amethyst card. It is a 2/3 that quests for 2. It can also shift for 2. It is a Floodborn. It has evasive. Whenever this character quests, you may return chosen character of yours with cost 1 to your hand. If you do, you may play a character with cost 1 for free. I think this card's pretty good.
Let me read this one more time. Whenever this character quests, you may return chosen characters with cost 1 to your hand. If you do, you may play a character with... Interesting. So we're getting essentially blink effects, if anybody is familiar with Blink and Magic the Gathering, but this one is a little bit restricted, being only a 1-cost. So I need to see the 1-cost that we need are getting benefits from bouncing and replaying. I think that's pretty restrictive as far as stuff like goes for bouncing and getting benefits, because you know, 1-cost, if it's has a really good effect to just play it, it's going to be like hard to balance that, because it's just the freest thing to play, right? Like it could be a 0/1, but the effect, if it's like anything, it's good. Like Dump Truck was a 0/1 and actually saw some fringe play just because the effect was just deal 1 damage, and that's good enough. So yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do. There's got to be at least one specific 1-cost that they're trying to play towards with this effect. But I would like to see more stuff like this that isn't restricted to one cost. Obviously, we saw the bounce package with like Fox and Snake be pretty good with stuff like Merlin Rabbit, and now Scrooge is pretty good as well with that. So maybe they're a little bit scared to just open it up to any sort of cost and just have that restriction of, hey, we can never, we got to be careful about what we print for entering and leaving the battlefield effects. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. It's a shift 2 is like always scary when you can like play a one cost, shift onto it, and immediately start doing this effect. I guess shift through or turn 3 would be the first turn where you could actually start bouncing stuff if you're shifting onto something. But still, it's very efficient and very fast. You can, go turn 1, play something, turn 2, play something, as long as one of them are a shift target. Next turn, you could shift and then play the whatever payoff one cost you have, even if you didn't play it in the first 2 turns, and then start doing the thing with it. And it also has evasive, so potentially you're doing this every turn is the flavor of this card. So I don't know, pretty on rate. Quest for 2 and it's evasive. Like that's pretty fine if this thing sticks around.
Yeah. I like it. I think also, I mean, just to comment on the art, it's beautiful. Again, it's one of those movie posters. I think you could put this on a poster. I'd hang this up in my room or my house. This is a gorgeous card, and if this is any indication of what the enchantments are going to look like throughout this set, I could not be more excited as a both a collector and a player. Big fan of this one. Up next, we got a couple more of these cards. Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse in Emerald and Sapphire. They're the adventuring duo. They're 6-cost inkable, 5/5 duo shift. You may pay 0 to play this on top of 2 of your characters, one named Mickey Mouse and one named Minnie Mouse. Thinking of you as their ability, if this character would be banished, put them into your inkwell face down and exerted. Instead, they quest for 5.
The previous one wasn't duo shift also, wasn't it? It was duo shift also. Oh man, now I gotta take back everything I said. It's just shift 2.
Oh no, it's just shift 2.
Okay, I was about to say if that was that was a duo shift, it'd be a very different story. You got to play turn 1, whatever, turn 2, play it, and then you lose both of them. That's pretty bad. But
no.
Okay, we can move on. I just had to make sure because it's kind of similar.
I thought you meant duo in the way that you could shift it onto either Pocahontas or Miko. Not have to shift them onto both.
Yeah, it's very, very different.
Yes.
Losing 2 cards on board is pretty
you shift
bad.
this onto Pocahontas or you shift this onto Miko. That's how this card is going to work.
Okay.
The duo shift though is very interesting. You play a Mickey on 1 or a Minnie on 1, a Mickey on 2 or a Minnie on 2, and shift this on 2 or shift this on 3. Quest for 5, and then if it ever goes anywhere, it ramps you by 3. Is there any way that this card could just absolutely just break the game? Quest for 5 on turn 3?
Well, I need to know the shift targets, and I'm racking my brain right now for what the Emerald
right
Sapphire
now
we have
the Mini.
We got Detective Mickey. I know that one. I know we got that one out there.
We have the 1-cost Minnie Mouse in Sapphire, the Traveler. Whenever this character quests, if you played another character this turn, gain 1 lore. And we also have the 2-cost 3/3 Mini in Emerald. So there are 2 minis possible for this. Mickey, I'm not sure. I'm going to look right now. Emerald and Sapphire. There's a 2-cost Mickey, Bob Cratchit. Whenever this character quests the top card, put the top card of your deck, face down under him. When he's banished in a challenge, put all cards on. Okay, so hold on. Mickey kind of good. The 2-cost, because he puts a card under him, right? And then if Mickey and Minnie are ever banished, all cards under them go into the inkwell, so you could potentially ramp for 4 if you quested with the Bob Cratchit. But yeah, so you go Minnie on 1, Mickey on 2, shift this, unless there are obviously other Mickey and Minnies that come into the game. But questing for 5 on turn number 3 seems pretty good with a 5/5. It costs 0 to shift, mind you, so you can shift this on 3 and play a 3-drop.
Yeah, I mean, you could shift this on 2 theoretically, right? You just play.
Yeah, if you want to
play the 1-cost Mini and then play the 2-cost Mickey and then shift and.
Well, play the 1-cost Mini, play the 1-cost Mini on 1, a 2-cost Mickey on 2, quest with the Mini for 2, and then shift on top.
Oh, because he boosts when you quest. Is that what it is?
Well, Mickey boosts when you quest, but Minnie quests for 2 if you played another character that turn. So it would force your Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse to be exerted on turn number 2, but you'd still gain 2 lore and have a 5/5 that quests for 5 on turn 2. And on the play, how are you losing that game? Right?
How does this even work? Because what if you have one exerted and one not exerted? What do
I
you?
would assume that it would go exerted. I would assume, but I don't know.
It's interesting that it doesn't say it on the card, but
It'll probably be added to the rules. Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a way to evaluate cards like this. So essentially, we're going to assume best case scenario. We have the 1 cost mini, the 2 cost Mickey, where we have the ability to go turn 1, turn 2, and then shift from that. Essentially, what you're doing is you're giving up your turn 1 and your turn 2 to play this character. So you are giving up 2 cards essentially, and this one to shift onto 3 cards for this one new character that you have. And so you can compare it to, okay, if I take my first 3 turns of my game and I play out three individual characters, I'm giving up that ability for this one character, and is that worth it? Some strategies need to go wider, and it's a little bit better, and it's not just to dodge single target removal, because you can't do this very fast, and there's probably not a lot of single target removal that could just deal with this right away. And even if they do, you get a benefit, but we need to think of like, okay, well, Amber Steel, for example, has like strength. Okay, so we're giving up that ability to buff something like that. That's not a big downside, especially post rotation. I think giving up those 2 characters isn't too big immediately as far as falling down on tempo, because this can come down so fast. But it's just like, what are we gaining by putting this thing out there this early? Is it just good because we're questing for 5 and it's like big, so it's hard to deal with? Is it good because I mean, I guess that'd be the only reason. Like if you like play just a 1 cost, a 2 cost, a 3 cost, and compare the stats to it, like a 5/5 is like gonna always be worse than that. So we're really just locking in on, okay, is it worth giving up our first 2 turns to quest with something for 5 lore that early? And I initially want to just say no. I don't think it's worth it in a vacuum. And also, we have to be playing these 1 and 2 cost Mickey and minis that really don't do anything by themselves. But I don't know. Maybe there is something to just like shifting this on 3 and start questing for 5, and then when it eventually does get taken out, all those things under it get ramped. It's really tough to evaluate cards like this without seeing the other cards that in the format that can interact with it.
Yeah.
I think if you do have like the ideal 1-2 shift on 3, start questing away, it is probably pretty good. Just because like they can't ignore it, they have to immediately answer it, else you just got a 3-4 turn clock. And when they eventually do answer it, you're going to be getting 3 ink. So it's like those cards didn't go to waste, which is kind of the problem with shifting in general. Is like that card underneath just will go to waste. So I'm really curious to see a card like this. It's hard to evaluate if something like this is going to be good in a format, but initially I want to say it has some potential to do some stuff.
Yeah. Like I said, you go the Minnie Mouse Traveler, play Mickey, quest for 2, shift this on, then turn 3, you're on the play. Turn 3, you quest for 5, you're at 7, you're going into your opponent's turn 3. There's no way they're removing this on turn 3, so you're going to quest again. So you're going to be at 12 on turn 4, plus you develop something on 3, plus you develop something on 4. I don't know. It seems kind of nuts to me if you can do it on the play. Like, I don't think
it's also
you can
interesting. Like this deck would be like, how do you build a deck like this? That's obviously aggressive because you want to do this early shift thing, but you're counting on them eventually, like turn 4 or turn 5, dealing with this after you got 2 quests with it, and you get all that lore. So like, do you put like big stuff in your deck and just like use that ink that they gave you the next turn to like either draw cards or just drop more big aggressive guys? Or are you just like using this as purely an aggressive deck and you're never going to ink again once this gets popped and you just play a bunch of more little stuff? So I'll be curious to see what ends up happening with this card.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to build something around this and have it for you guys once all the cards are revealed, for sure. I also love this Peter Pan and Tinkerbell card. A 6 cost inkable, 5/4, shifts for 4. You can shift them onto Peter Pan or Tinkerbell, just like all these team up cards. You can fly. Your characters gain evasive is the ability. They quest for 2, so they give all your characters evasive. You play Dumbo on turn 5. Now your 1-drop, your 2-drop, your 3-drop, they all have evasive too, even if they didn't before, and you can start drawing cards with Dumbo. I think it's super cool. and then it also works with the cards we were talking about earlier in the episode as well. Just giving everything that you have, that anything that you play has evasive, like Demona with evasive coming down onto the board, right? Like, I don't know, seems super cool.
Yeah, I think this card seems very like it could be very, very strong. I will say there is a risk with running cards like this and building your deck around them, because if you don't get it and like your whole strategy is I'm having all these non-evasive guys and I'm gonna make them evasive, but then you don't ever get to make them evasive, it might kind of fall apart.
Yeah.
But evasive is just generically very good. And like, what are you trying to make evasive? Like big characters that probably do something and maybe have like a on quest triggers and they survive because they're evasive. So it might just be fine leaving them be for a turn and eventually making them evasive once you do find this. But I think it's pretty solid. I know there's a 1-cost Ruby Tinkerbell that you can shift onto the 3/1. So
there's a 3-cost Peter Pan as well, and a 3-cost Tinkerbell.
Okay, so the 3s are a little bit worrisome, but the 1 is definitely great.
Yeah.
And if we do see Eleanor banned, that 1-cost Tinkerbell might be a problem with this card. No, but I think even just being a 6-cost like thing, play, give everything evasive is kind of like a silver bullet card against.
It's not even like
decks.
an on play till the start of your next turn. It's just they have evasive while this is on the board.
Like I know people are like running like Dumbo's Feather some and like red purple on some other decks to just give stuff evasive. So having the option of just playing a card like this and be like, okay, now my stuff has evasive. Now I can swing. If you quest out with your evasive stuff just to gain some free lore, I can threaten to just play this. Like it's a very powerful card to have like that, where it's like, okay, your genies and all this evasive stuff and Dumbos can't like safely tap out unless you are okay with me playing this and just wiping everything for a turn. If those cards are in lore is worth it, then sure. But typically in matchups where they're pretty mid-rangey like that, having a card that could just wipe the board if you have it in hand is pretty valuable.
Yeah, even just like imagine you have like a big Scrooge that you've been boosting. You play this onto the board. It's like now he's got evasive. Or
yeah,
I don't. The like possibilities are endless, and it's my favorite color combination. So I'm gonna build something. This is day one. I'm building around this day one for sure.
Yeah,
yeah, I'm super excited about this one. Up next, we've got 2 more: Darkwing Duck and Launchpad. St. Canard's Finest. It's a 7-cost inkable 5/7. Of course, you can shift on Darkwing or Launchpad. It has Ward. It's a 2-cost. And the ability is victory pose during your turn. Whenever this character banishes another character in a challenge, gain 2 lore. Sapphire Steel Sky. Come back to us. Tell us. Are we playing this or not?
This one ain't it, Chief. I'm gonna be honest. Yeah, this one I don't see much upside at all. It's got Ward, which is good. I mean, post-rotation format, sometimes just big guys with, especially with Ward, maybe there's only a few answers that are single target removals at this stage of the game, but it's just not great. You need something like when it challenges, it draws a card to even be close to interesting. And even then, like typically challenge effects are quite exposed to opponents just not exerting stuff. And most decks can't play stuff efficient that exert things to gain the benefits off of attack challenge effects. So don't think this one's going to see too much play. Even if there are, like, we have the 1-cost 2/2 Darkwing shift target. I don't think there's Launchpad other than like a 3-cost, but
there's a 2-cost Launchpad. He's uninkable. There's a 3-cost as well.
Oh, it's the 2/3 that you tap to draw and discard. Okay.
Yeah.
Even then though, not great. Shift 5 is really different.
That's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah.
Shift 3 is like classically what we need to see unless it's something absurd. So
yeah, Tinkerbell Shift 4, one of the better higher cost cards to shift onto the board. Yeah, Shift 5 is quite a bit, but it's big and it has Ward, which might just be good enough. I know people are going to play this. There are a ton of Darkwing Duck fans out there, and this is a pretty good top end if you're already going to be playing that deck. But like at a hyper competitive level, I'm not exactly sure on that. It's dependent on your opponent having exerted characters, which the Sapphire Steel has had to have for quite a while, like the detectives and Nick Wilde as well. But it has Ward, so you can't get rid of them. Eventually, something's going to get exerted unless you board wipe.
Yeah, at one point, R&B was big on the detectives, the Blue Steel detectives in core, and he got me to try it. And
just remove Nick Wilde and just the game.
I did not like the deck. I don't think the deck was very good. But I will say, if this card were to be amended to like fit into that more, I think a cool way would be give all of your detectives ward alongside himself, and that
Sheesh.
would be like a way to where it's like plays into the theme of that deck where you want to just set up this engine where you set up Nick Wild. And I guess the biggest problem was like, okay, it's a set up an engine deck, which is typically pretty tough. But the main issue was also if you shift the main guy to shift the Darkwing Duck, he could just get removed by like a Let It Go or a Hades. At least this would make it so, okay, now I shift this guy. He not only does he have ward, but my whole engine has ward. So all those Let It Goes and Hades are kind of useless. So I would have liked to see something like that, but I don't think it's going to be changing that archetype enough to see play.
This Ruby Amber one is really interesting to me. It's a 6-cost inkable. It's Sully and Boo, Scare Buddies. They are a 6 strength, 5 willpower character that quest for 2. They shift for 4. The power of friendship. When this character is banished, if any of the cards that were under them are character cards, you may play those characters from your discard for free. Okay, so it has combo shift. If I'm reading this correctly, combo shift for 4. You may pay 4 to play this on top of one of your characters named Sully, one named Boo, or one of each. So if you want to, you can shift it on Sully. If you want to, you can shift it on Boo, or you can do it like the Minnie and Mickey and shift on both. That way, if and when they're banished, you get to play both Sully and Boo for free on either your opponent's turn or your turn, which seems pretty good. But I don't know. This is interesting.
Yeah, I think the 3-cost Ruby Boo that we saw a long time ago, that's like what the reason for this combo shift. And maybe the Sully like also has rush, so it can do something when it comes in. Is like the thinking of this. Okay, you can shift onto both of them, and then like that way, whenever this gets banished, you bring back the Boo. It can swing in and do its thing. But like, yeah, there is some synergy there, but you're like still losing these cards that are underneath them, even after like because like the Boo's like we'll just go 1 for 1 when you rush in. So I don't know. This one's I kind of like the idea that you can shift onto just one of them if you want, or both of them and have some kind of upside. But I don't think the current Sullies and Boos makes too much value to shift on both. So not the greatest card in my opinion.
We've only seen one Sully thus far, I believe, so I'm sure we're gonna get a bunch more. It's wild to me that Sully is in the game and he's like Amber Ruby when he is a Blurple character.
Yeah, in terms of Ruby's the big guy deck, so he's just like, I'm a big guy that just comes down with big stats. But yeah, it is. I feel like we will eventually get a Sapphire Sully. Like we have to.
Yeah, Sapphire. We need a Blurple Sully for sure. Up next, these cards were revealed during the DLC. I think a lot of people are really excited about the Emerald and Steel cards here. We have Mother Gothel, Evil as Ever, 2-cost uninkable 3/3 during your turn. When you discard this card, you may play this character from your discard. You pay all costs, which means you have to pay 2 for it. So imagine you play Bobby Zimmerowski, you draw a card, you discard a card. This is the card you discard. You can play her instead of putting her into your discard pile, which makes it so you just go +1 with the Bobby, right?
Yeah, this card is crazy, man. Whoa, yeah. I am shocked at seeing this card. Like, yeah, Bobby is insane, or Tramp 7-cost. Like that works as well, right? You could just tramp, go through like almost half your deck and like find 2 or 3 of these and just play them out for free. Yeah, that works, right? Like there's nothing.
Yes, yeah.
Man, dude, what are we doing? Tramp's got to get banned if I'm seeing a card like this, right? Sure.
A Whole New World, Beyond the Horizon, that it all works.
Yeah, that is crazy that you could just, your plan is, okay, I just play as many Tramps as possible. I play all these Gothels for free on top of already doing absurd stuff with Tramp. Like, my gosh, what a crazy card. Okay. Well, it's uninkable, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to be just playing them regardless, I think. The other aspect, if we forget about Tramp and Bobby for a second, the other aspect of this card is like anybody played Magic, there was a Liliana of the Veil, Planeswalker, that one of its plus abilities was your opponent has to discard a card. And one of the ways that you counter that is very popular for multiple formats is you played a card from your sideboard that said, when this gets discarded, you can play it for free. So this card also against like Sudden Chill is like a way you can be like, Gotcha. I
But it's
play.
only during your turn.
Oh, it's only during your turn. Okay,
Yeah.
disregard that whole thing, I guess. But Tramp, my gosh, what's happening here? Surely Tramp is catching a ban if this card is getting printed because, geez Louise, do we really need more ways to cheat out ink? Like, we're playing Tramps for almost free, and now we got this thing on top. Like, gosh dang.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like the Mother Gothel a lot. Rapunzel escaping the tower also has discard synergy on your turn, of course. It's a 1-cost inkable. Rapunzel escaping the tower, a 2/1. The Call of Adventure is her ability. Once during your turn, you may discard a card to give this character +1 and evasive till the start of your next turn. So it's similar to the Randall that we saw earlier, but with discarding instead of having all of your ink exerted, she gains additional lore and evasive. So really two similar cards, but very synergistic with all of the cards that we're going to see here.
Yeah, that card is super on rate and very very efficient. If you look at like Miko, that card from I think literally last set has like a 1 cost on inkable. There was a similar effect. It had evasive, quested for 2, but you had to discard a card every turn or else it just got banished. This card is just so much better than that card, and especially when you have Mother Gothel in your deck, it's like
Mother
whoa, my gosh, it's a card that's like so efficient that like even without Mother Gothel probably gets played in aggressive decks. Just having the versatility of, well, if I really don't want to be discarding a card, I can just have it as a 2/1 body. But if I do just want more lore, I'm trading, one card for +1 lore and potentially +2 lore the next turn.
Do you put this in dogs and evasive too, with like Lilo in your deck?
I mean,
or no? It's a safe way to quest. Is it safer to quest with this than it is to quest with a lady?
You're not like a full-on aggressive quest deck with dogs in either format. Also, like discarding Lilo, yes, you can bring it back, but you're probably not doing that right away, and you're probably also just eventually going to discard it naturally. So it is still like losing a card.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, with the Mother Gothel though, maybe there's some like if you're for sure playing Mother Gothel and dogs, like yes, we will play the Rapunzel and dogs as well.
Yeah. Here, I wanted to talk about. You broke my smolder before we talk about the cards on the previous slide, but this is the dock replacement. Cost 1, discard your hand, draw 2 cards. So again, you can do this with Mother Gothel, discard your hand, play Mother Gothel for 2, and still draw 2 cards.
Dude, we also have Gantu, which can play Mother Gothel as well.
Yeah, that's true.
1-cost Gantu, bro. 3/3 on turn 1 and another 3/3. Like, that's crazy. We got the beefy boys coming out on turn 1. That's wow, this is fun. We actually have some good free stuff, which I guess we've had plenty of good free stuff with like Tramp and Bell and stuff and Scrooge, but this is like a different flavor of free. This is like aggro free, which is the scariest, but it's fun to at least see like very good archetype cards. And yeah, this card also, we have like some sort of green steel aggro list that's kind of brewing here.
You broke my smolder. Yeah, I like this card. But going back, here we have Rapunzel and Flynn Rider. Again, this has to be an enchanted, right? A 5-cost, inkable 4/4, unlikely pair. Shifts for 3 on Rapunzel or Flynn. Clever swap. Whenever this character quests, you may draw a card, then choose and discard a card. During your turn, when you discard a character card, you may play that character from your discard. So this turns any card into a Mother Gothel.
Interesting. Yeah, this seems insane as well. Shift 3 on this. Like we have cheap targets for this. This is like, I feel like this archetype that they've printed in this set is just way above rate than all the other ones that we've seen. And maybe they're just holding out on the good cards for the other ones, but this stuff seems, I like this. We're doing
it seems nuts. It seems nuts. We also have this action. Look what you've done. Deal 2 damage to chosen character for 2. It is inkable, but during your turn, when you discard this card, you may play it from your discard as well.
Okay, interesting. So you can just replay it, I guess, if you've got 4 ink, right? You just play it and replay it.
No, it has to be discarded. And playing a card and going to the discard pile doesn't count as discarded.
Oh, okay. My bad then. I thought you just had the option to just double play it if you wanted. I mean, it is sad that is not a thing, but I think it's still very, very good for this green steel discard your stuff deck. Like just playing a free Fire the Cannon is pretty nice, especially when it's inkable. So yeah, both these cards seem great. I mean, it is notable that You don't get to
Well,
play
it's not free. You do have to pay 2 for it, even if you discard it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So both of them. I thought that one was free. I knew the Rapunzel from the Rider you have to pay, but okay. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's still pretty good though. We're still we'll take the ink for the value. I'm a sucker for value. We'll Bobby and play this and do that. So, but now we have like a lot of what is rotating out of the Bobby? I think the Yzma is rotating. Is Bobby still in the format?
Yeah, Bobby is in Fabled.
Okay, so we have Bobby, and we now have the new 2-cost Lyle. I do think that Yzma would rotate though the 2 costs. So
draw. Let me see. Draw and discard. What is the exact terminology of this? Draw card, then choose and discard. Okay, then choose and discard.
There's also Mulan,
Gaten Moliere.
He goes
Lyle,
crazy with these. Yeah.
Lyle, the 2-cost Inkable that just came into the game. Strike a good match is one that you can use. Scrooge McDuck.
Mulan rotate, the steel one?
Yes.
Okay.
We have
That's
the Tinkerbell Tiny Tactician is in the game still. Ariel Determined Mermaid is still in the game.
Yeah, both those
probably not
making the cut. Pretty inefficient, but
Ingenious Device.
Yeah. I mean that's pretty good. It does two damage. I am an Ingenious Device enjoyer myself, but
there's a lot of cards.
Yeah, a lot of this seems very efficient, and it seems like they went all in on making sure that the whole package was here.
Strike a good match seems really good with these cards too.
Yeah, and the mole guy as well. A deck like this needs to dig for the Gothels and the Look What You've Done's to have any value outside of this Rapunzel and Flynn Rider shift. So I think a card like that seems pretty on rate for this type of strategy. I could see that. I could see this green steel discard like tempo deck being very good at the start of rotation.
Yeah. I love all the synergies that they keep making. It's so cool to see what they're doing, what they're cooking up. I'm a big fan of how the design team is now approaching these sets and building these sort of, like I said, like 5 or 6 cards, and then you look back and what makes sense. What did we have in the previous sets that can go into this and make this even better? Here we have the set championship card. This is the Rapunzel that we were just talking about. Super playable, princess, awesome artwork. I think this is a home run.
Yeah, the card's great. I think this card is probably the best set champs promo maybe ever. Maybe Maleficent and Dragon was better, but
you better watch your mouth talking about Woody like that, bro.
Woody's good too. We love Woody. We have a lot of praise. Unfortunately, the current format post for the current format is a little bit scary for Woody.
Yeah.
There's some, in my opinion, some minor balancing issues that leads it to not being very favored. But maybe post rotation Woody pops off. But this card is just generically like just strong, I think.
Yeah, I love this Rapunzel. I think the art is super cool. I'm a little sad that like the playmat for this is not Rapunzel. It's the song that we talked about earlier. The Monsters Inc. is the playmat for the set championship. It's a different art from the card, which is very odd to me.
I'm fine with that. I'm a Monsters Inc. stan for sure, and I think this artwork's not hitting for me. I'll be honest with you. You said you liked it, but I don't know.
I love this.
It doesn't look like a Rapunzel to me. Some just looks off. I don't know.
I think the Punzi fans are going to come after you.
We got spoiled by we got 4-cost Rapunzel. That was great.
Yeah, you're not wrong. That card's
that one hit. All right,
that's one of the best in the entire game. Okay, we have a few more cards to get. Well, this is gonna be our longest episode ever. A few cards more cards. There's so many cards revealed. These are going to be the pre-release promo cards. They're not all the travelers like they were last time, but here we have Pocahontas guiding the tribe. 2/3 for 2 amber card. When you play this character, you may play a character of 1 cost for free. I think this card's kind of nuts. Amber aggro deck still just getting more and more and more and more. Play a 1 cost. Play a Grandmother Willow. Play this for 1 and play, I don't know, 2 more 1-drops for free. Play your whole hand.
Yeah, this card is amazing. If you think about it, like a lot of aggro decks love to play Willow, and they would just love to drop their hand. This is, in some hands and certain aggro decks would be better than Willow, because like if you're going with the plan of, okay, I want to go like quad, one quad characters on 1 and 2, like you explained, or just like triple and really drop my hand, like your hand's gone. And so Willow doesn't really need to be there for turns 3, for certainly not turns 4 and 5 to just drop everything. And so at that point, you just want a better body and would have an inkable card. So I think this card is great. Yeah, go like Daisy, Pocahontas Daisy. It's pretty good. Yeah, having something to swing back on your fragile characters that are just going to quest every turn is also like a pretty good thing to have, and Willow doesn't really do that. So I think this card is great.
The other card we have here is a 3-cost inkable 2/4 Vixie Expert Fisher, Stealing In. When you play this character, if you have a character with evasive in play, you may return chosen character, item, or location with cost 2 or less to their player's hand. I kind of like this.
This card is...
Play Randall on 2.
Arbax loves this card, man. He's foaming at the mouth right now. No, I just know he likes Fox and the Hound, and he's a green-purple tempo player in this card.
Right.
This card is like...
fits right in.
The tempo... like masterpiece, right? I think he loved Cloud Kicker as well.
Yeah,
as like a tempo card. This card is really crazy, just because it's much better statted than Kit's. Also, yeah, it just fits the bill. If you're like, okay, I play a 1 cost in my first 2 turns as evasive, and I play this, and they're like, it's like essentially befuddling them and like just making them that much harder to deal with the stuff on board. You buy a turn with the one thing that they were going to try to swing with.
Yeah, whatever on 1, Randall on 2, this on 3, Randall quests for 2 with evasive. You bounce something. Seems really good.
It's also interesting, like green purple with the Rapunzel. You can choose to discard. All right, ideally we discard the Gothel, play it for free, give Rapunzel evasive. Then we play this because
you can't play. You can't Gothel. You still have to pay 2.
Wait, you still have to pay 2?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we got to delete the whole segment about Tramp, dude. I thought it was legit play for free.
It's still good with Tramp, because Tramp can come down for
I thought
free.
You could legit just play it for free, man.
No,
what?
You have to pay all costs, yeah.
All right, well, now I got to like rethink the last like 10 minutes of my life. 15 minutes, probably. Man, okay. I mean, it's still like, it is still good with the discard stuff, but yeah, not being able to play for free is...
Yeah, why did I think you play for free? It would be broken.
Yeah, for free, you play Tramp, you just win the game. You just tramp, go through all the Gothels and play it. Yeah, okay. That makes more sense.
Yeah. You play 1 or 2 Gothels after a Tramp. That's what I thought you were saying.
No. I was like, I thought you could. That's why, like, you go back and watch my face. I was like, what am I reading right now? We're in like the end times, dude. This is the final nail in my coffin of an archetype that already needs to be banned. Like, my gosh.
Yeah.
It's still pretty good with Bobby though, and like the core stuff, yeah, like it's good value stuff. So
I agree. You play especially on turn 2, if you can discard and play that for free, or not for free, but you know what I mean. You draw the card for free because you don't have to discard anything. But yeah, I think Vixie is a super good tempo card. The next 2, we have more Buzz Lightyears coming into the game. A 4-cost uninkable 4/2. Action figure is his ability. When you play this character, choose one of the following. If you have another toy and character, choose both instead. 1, you may return an action card that costs 2 or less from your discard of your hand. 2, you may play an action card with 2 or less for free. Any quest for 2. That's a good ability, I think. Depends on what actions you're getting back.
Yeah, I like this. I think I'm thinking back. It works with the kind of theme of the duo shift Woody Buzz thing. Or it's not duo shift, but just you can shift on either.
Yeah.
And once again, going to the corn troll theology here. We got stuff like 0 to hero. We're gonna have the toys, and we can do both. We could just grab a 0 to hero, play it again. Maybe we could even play another Buzz and do it again. And like I don't know. I think this one's a little bit more clunky than the other stuff because it's an unequal 4 cost, but I like this card. I think it fits the bill of that. I don't think it's good on its own and just something that has like good 2-cost actions to include. It's a little bit understated being a 4/2 for 4, and it's uninkable, which is pretty bad for a card that's like highly situational like this. But I don't know. You could think of it like maybe there's some sort of green-blue deck with like the 2-cost ramp cards, and we're just trying to like, okay, we have another toy on the board. We've ramped once. We play this Buzz and ramp again for free. I think then it's pretty good. Like 4 cost singers, like important if we're thinking like infinity for like, blue green scene, you're welcome. So this could be another interesting option for that, but not the greatest stat wise card.
Yeah, love the art though. Woody in the background, getting it done with the lasso. Um, Up next, we have another 4-cost uninkable Merlin, envisioning the future. A 1/4. Its first ability, minor trickery. When you play this character, you may draw a card from the bottom of your deck. When this character is banished, put this card from your discard on the bottom of your deck. Any quest for 2. Interesting if you can. You're like doing develop your brain. You put a card in your hands. You put whatever to the bottom. You know what it is. You play Merlin and you draw that card.
Yeah, it's not great because you're always going to pick the best card from develop. So you probably don't even want the card that's on the bottom. But I think the flavor here is like you find 2 Merlins and eventually the second one is going to bring back the other Merlin. And like every turn, then you have the option if you want to fill out 4 ink to play this 1/4, the quest for 2. And if they're, a quest for 2, so they probably want to deal with it. Maybe not. That's a 1/4 the quest for 2 is unfortunately not that threatening. So yeah, they're probably not going to be chaining every
draws
turn.
A card.
Yeah, but it's drawing himself essentially in this. Like if you find 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think I would have liked. I think it's a cool effect, and I'm always a sucker for like recurring value type things. So I would have liked to see this been a little bit more efficient. I think 3 is definitely a lot more doable for like filling out 3 ink to just replay a character each turn versus 4. I think that's going to take a lot of your turn.
4 is a lot of
even if you're like a ramp deck. So I don't know. This is interesting. I think you look at the card like Bambi that was like a 3-cost that like would bounce back to your hand and you get like a lore. That card is also terribly inefficient, unfortunately, for bouncing back, and it costs 3. So this one's definitely not good. I wonder why they're scared of these recurring value cards being pretty good, because I mean, obviously,
Will-o'-the-Wisp is like the big one, and that card is like really good.
Yeah, is a good version of that card, and it costs 1. So maybe they're just like too scared of having Wisp plus another good one. I don't know, but I like to see Merlin pop off. I wish he would like. A card like this could maybe even be like a 2-cost and it's fine. Probably not because it just initially draws a card. But if it had the context of like somehow it would have to be a Merlin to be able to draw it off the bottom, something that was 2-cost, I think would be pretty cool to see with something like this.
Up next, we got 2 more cards here. We have Maximus Relentless Stallion, a 5-cost uninkable 4/5. Its ability, No Escape. If you discarded a card this turn, this character gains Challenger +2 and can challenge ready characters this turn. So another card that goes into that Emerald Steel Rapunzel Tangled archetype. So it gives him Challenger +2 and the ability to challenge ready characters. It's kind of good, challenging him for 6 on ready characters.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It just costs 5. I think a card like this needs to cost 4 for it to be really effective. But this does give me some assurance, and they're like, post rotation, they want a little bit less interaction to start off the format, at least, which is fun. It's good. I want less interaction. Have a few turns. Let the mid and late game be where the interaction comes in. Like let's like turn 4. Let's not be playing else's and tap and stuff. Okay, let's make it turn 5 is the soonest that we can start threatening stuff. And I guess turn 6 in this case if we're not ramping, because it needs to be dried. So yeah, probably not the best card, but a card that challenges ready characters is a very strong effect, so I wouldn't want to see it like be too efficient.
Here we have Morph, your boy. He's back.
He's back.
He's a 2-cost inkable, and he is a 1/2, the Little Imitator. He's an Amethyst this time, and he has the same ability. You can shift any character on top of this character. Shout out Morph. He's making all of the duo characters that are in this ink color work a little better, so... we have Tinkerbell and Morph that we can shift Peter Pan onto. Hold on.
I really wish the Emerald Morph was a 1/2. Like going back to Corn Troll. I keep going back to this, but when Dog started playing Eleanor, it was a sad day for me because like Morph goes so good into the Clarabelle shift, and you have 3 good shift targets. You have Clarabelle, Kita, and even Diablo is a fairly reasonable one. And unfortunately, being a 2/1, it's really bad against dogs when they have Eleanor, and you really just can't even play them in that matchup. So I got to a weird spot where I was like having to cut copies of Morph, and like at one point I didn't have any, but I was like I still need him for the other matchups for the consistency of shifting Clara. So I would love this card to be Emerald, and I could just get out away from that problem and still run my Morphs in that deck. But unfortunately, it's Amethyst, and I'm trying to think of any super efficient Amethyst shift card right now.
I was just talking about the Tinkerbell and Peter Pan.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that works. Shift 4 for that.
Yeah.
Pretty good. But it is a 2 cost versus like Tinkerbell's a 1. So it's gonna be worse than that. But that's how it should be. You should like when this deck when Emerald Morph was played in green steel is like, okay, like yes, we can shift Diablo on it, but we're not preferring to do it. But that deck also the upside of we do prefer to shift Beast onto it because there's no Beast.
The only thing you can shift.
Yeah, it was actually the cheapest. So like it is interesting that like have we ever seen a time where something like this would have been played just for the consistency of having more shift targets, but it's inefficient. I don't know if there's ever been a deck that has had that with Morph, but yeah, I think the stats are better than a 2/1 in a scenario where there's like Eleanor in the format.
Yeah. And we have the last two here. We've got some more team up cards, and the first one is the entire Madrigal family. Everyone is here. 5 cost, inkable 2/8. The Madrigal family, every generation. Madrigal shift. You may pay 3 to play this on one of your Madrigal characters, so literally any one of them.
There's a lot of them.
There are. There's a ton. Once during your turn, whenever you remove 1 or more damage from one of your characters, put the top card of your deck into your inkwell face down and exerted. A lot of the Madrigal characters have this remove damage synergy, so anytime you do it, you just get double bonus now. You can ramp a little bit more with your Madrigals. I'm not sure about it, though. It's never really been a good synergy just removing damage, but maybe this adds into that synergy a little bit and makes it more consistent and worth trying.
Yeah, I'm not feeling this one. It is very big for being shift 3 at 2/8. This is probably going to stick around for a second trigger of this, but I don't even know. I don't think the cards are there right now to like have some sort of 1, 2, 3 shift and get this effect immediately. Like we have Ruben, which can heal an Amber, but I don't know about any cards that come in damaged within the Sapphire Amber family right now. Maybe there is one, and maybe it's okay for that, but I think we've learned that the Madrigals are not good cards for the most part. So like we're at least not gonna have to run bad shift targets for this. Probably not the best card.
Yeah, don't disagree. Next up is Aladdin and Genie. Could again be another morph target here to shift onto. It's a 5 cost, which most of the time means it's shifting for 3, and that remains true here. It is a 5 cost 3/3. You can shift it onto Aladdin or Genie. And their ability, sleight of hand, when you play this character, put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you do, draw that number of cards +1. Whoa. This card's kind of sick, dude. This card's kind of neat.
It is a cool card. Being like a desperate
+1.
Yeah, being a desperate plan and it doesn't just lose the card, you get the card at the end is pretty nice. The only downside of this is that it's a very, very weak body.
Yeah, 3/3.
So I will say Lorcana traditionally has been a game that effects like this that fix your hand are pretty bad because they're also tutors are pretty bad, like the Merlin. They put those cards way under rate of like the stats on them because card games usually drawing like fixing your hand and finding specific cards is good, but Lorcana has a very strong mulligan, and the way the game is devised has a lot more similar effects than say games like Magic, where like you can't really just run 8 copies of a card that are very similar. Like this game, a lot of your opening curve is, okay, we can run 8 copies, so we will always hit pretty much on our turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 for a lot of these decks. So effects like this aren't always needed. And usually what ends up happening is like if you need to put this in, it's like feels bad because you're just giving up value on the matches where you do curve out with this. But maybe we'll see some kind of combo stuff where like digging and fixing hands is really good. There is some of these like discard stuff. So I guess like if you had a bunch of ink and you shifted this and discarded two of those discard cards, you could just play them. That's the rest of your turn, and it's kind of like a way to be healthy with your hand. My initial impression is just too understated, though. I think shift 3 for a 3/3 that costs 2 is probably not super great.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I do love the ability, but like you said, being a 3/3, I kind of wish it just quested for 1 and had more stats, just because the ability is so good. If you're caught in a bad spot, but like, is there a single like shift target in the game? You know what I mean? Like, is there a genie or Aladdin?
I think the one case scenario where this card could potentially be very good is if, one, there's shift targets that are cheap.
There are no shift targets in core right now.
Okay, well, rest in peace, I guess. But let's say they do print these 1 and 2 cost cheap shift targets. Your one payoff would have to be, I need to sing with this thing. I need to do this effect, grab some 5 cost song that's very good, and I need to sing with it that turn. I think is what maybe this comes down to.
Yeah, that could be pretty good if you're able to make that work. But there's one. The Ward Aladdin from
the 2 cost, the 2/2. Okay.
Yeah, he got reprinted and fabled, so he's the one. All right. That's all the cards we got for you guys this week. We talked. Oh my gosh, I'm lying. I'm actually lying. There are more.
There's more. Oh my gosh. Don't tell me it's another free Mother Gothel, dude. Please.
No. It's not a free Mother Gothel. We have the Coco cards, and this is not even from the upcoming set. It's from Hyperia City, set number 14. We got a little bit of a peek into that. Ruby Singers are back after disappearing after Fabled with Powerline and stuff. So we have a 1-cost Singer 2. When you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck into your discard. Hector Riviera. We also have Miguel Riviera, a 1-cost 1/2. While you have a song card in your discard, this character gets +1 lore and gains Singer 3. So I think they're a little bit scared to print Singer 3s for 1 straight up when Cinderella was so powerful. So we're putting some conditions on it. You have to have a song card in there. He gains +1 lore and Singer 3. You can put a card in your discard with Hector, so there's kind of a little bit of synergy there, but you can't guarantee that it's going to be a song. And then you have Un Poco Loco, which is a sing together 3-cost inkable song. Choose 2 characters of yours. If one of them is cost 3 or less, return both to your hand.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I'll start with the Miguel. Obviously, Singer 3, 1-cost inkable 1/2 is great. We have Sydney, one of the most broken cards ever for Amber. And yeah, we have a condition. We can't just turn 2 threaten to sing songs. It's not going to work. We need to somehow get a song in the bin first, and like there's no way to do it. So I do like that is balanced out. I do think reprinting Cindy would be a disservice to songs and the game design. I think it would limit a lot of stuff that's cool and probably should be in the game. So I like to see this. It's a fun way to do it in a way where it's not just like, okay, Singer 3, but not for the first turn of the game. Because like if you printed that on a card, it's not going to sound great. It's like it kind of just feels awkward to print something like that. So
like turn 3, he has Singer 3.
Yeah, like there's like a clock. You could do a keyword where it's like, okay, it's extra dry or something, like where it needs to have an effect that takes more than 1 turn to activate. But
that'd be cool.
Maybe we see something like that in the future, but it would be a little bit of a wordful if you didn't have a certain keyword for it. So this is interesting. I do think this card seems like it could be good if there's enough ways to cheaply get it in the discard. We have the Hector that just discards a card, but I don't think that's going to be reliable enough to just guarantee a song in the discard. So probably not enough there. We can look at the Un Poco Loco card. Choose 2 characters of yours. If one of them is 3 costs or less, return both to your hand. Interesting. So we're just like trying to get value out of bouncing and replaying something, I guess. I don't really know what
we need to see more cards. I don't
these cards are clearly not the ones that, I mean, I guess Hector can get another card of the discard, but that's not, innate value within itself. That's just not good enough, I think. So yeah, there's got to be some more cards here that's got to be the theme.
I agree. Like right now it's like, I don't know. I think there will probably be more cards in this because we talked about it multiple times in this episode. The synergies that they're building are working together a lot better than they used to, and I think this is going to be one of those synergy lines. We just don't see the full picture right now, so we can't really make much of it, I don't think.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like some sort of yellow purple hyper aggro where you just quest with the 1/1 2 questers. You know, either play this or sing with like one of your big 3-cost characters, and then bounce them back, and you can replay them.
Yeah.
But that's probably not enough value to include in a deck like that. You lose the card by playing it, so it doesn't replace itself.
Yeah. All right, that is it. Finally, all the cards. This is the longest episode probably in the history of the podcast, but there were so many reveals, and we did want to talk about Infinity a little bit. But that is going to be it for Sky and I. What do you think of all the cards that have been revealed thus far? Let us know. We'll be back next week with more card reveals, and we'll talk all about how DCI went as well, as that is going to be a core constructed CCQ here for what is a little bit of a lame duck format, but you might be interested in checking out what happens there if you have some set championships that are still coming up, so be on the lookout for that. Again, super shout out to all of our sponsors, and super shout out to you guys for watching and sticking with us. There are so many people that came up to us over the weekend at Indianapolis that were really happy with how Podcana is going, and we really appreciate that. We love you guys, and hopefully all of you can win a deck box and a dice box eventually if we keep these giveaways going. But
7,000 more to go.
Yeah, 7,000 more to go. That's it. We're trying to hit 10,000 by the end of this year. We're about halfway through. Maybe it'll happen. But for Sky, my name is Garrick. This has been Podcana, episode 151, and we'll see you guys next week.